Sanctuary of the Mechas. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 301, Desolate Town. The blue plane sped through the air, and the multi-angled view screens in front of the cockpit revealed the surrounding sky. The surrounding sky was shrouded in a dark fog, a gloomy haze obscuring the sunlight. After a while of flight, we gradually approached our next target location, and soon came to a stop near the border of Area 15. This Area 15 is the former desert town I visited before, now renamed Green Town due to the extensive planting of flowers and trees. However, the dusty climate in this area won't change overnight. Although it's now Green Town, it still experiences occasional dust storms and other inclement weather. Currently, the sky is obscuring the sun, obscuring all sunlight, and the darkness is even more gloomy. The already harsh climate has been exacerbated. This area experiences more troublesome crimes than other areas, and is home to a complex and diverse flow of people. Rumor has it that many illegal immigrants live here, or engage in some illegal trade, but the current discipline is quite strict, and the atmosphere here seems to have improved recently. However, at this moment, the weather has changed, and demons and monsters have frequently invaded this place. It is already noon. Although we followed the Jade's guidance to arrive here, the extremely evil and powerful demonic aura we sensed not long ago is no longer felt. Perhaps the target possesses the ability to hold his breath or some other special power, or has already left this place. At this time, the surrounding area is relatively calm, and the monsters that invaded here seem to have been dealt with. It was noon. At this time, I suggested to Lanyu, it seems that this area has suddenly become much calmer. I think now that it is noon, we might as well go down first, walk around this town and find a place to have a meal. Hearing this, Lanyu thought for a while, and then said, okay, this place does look weird than the places we have been to before. We need to spend more time here. Yes, the guidance of the Jade is one thing, and the choice is ours. We have to be cautious sometimes, so as not to miss any important clues. I said, well, let's go out together. Lanyu nodded. Then, we parked the blue body in a place, a mecha placement area. After that, we got off the body, walked out of the airport, and started to head towards the road to the town. Lanyu and I walked side by side on the now windy and dusty road. The surroundings were rather desolate. Although it was noon, the invasion of the black monster had caused widespread panic. Most people, following the advice of the television and the local security personnel, were avoiding going out. Most shops had recently ceased operations. As we walked along this street, we could feel a slight chill. There was no one around, and a chilly wind occasionally blew. Even at noon, the sky felt like dusk. Looking at this area, it felt like the end of the world. Only occasionally could we see people near doors and windows on either side of the road. Even those who did walk were extremely cautious, some even running as fast as they could as soon as they saw us. Right before us, a woman who looked like a housewife hurriedly ran away from the corner of the road. Everyone was in a state of panic. Walking through this land was truly depressing. I wondered what had happened here. First, let's find a restaurant or something and ask inside about the current situation, I said. Lanyu nodded slightly and said, well, it's just that most of the shops around here are closed. I can't seem to find a single one open. That's right, let's look around, I said. The closures here are even more severe than in other areas. There are very few shops open on the entire street. Only the occasional grocery store is visible, and these are covered by iron gates, requiring knocking. It seems they're particularly fearful of the monsters. Right now, we just have to find a shop that can provide information about the situation. I've been here before on a mission, with Xingze. There used to be an intelligence exchange somewhere underground. If we can find that place, or something similar, we might be able to quickly shed some light on the situation here. We continued along the town's roads. Many of the newly planted trees have withered due to the harsh weather. This place is becoming more like the desert town it once was. Lanyu and I wandered around the town for a while, scanning the surrounding signs for signs of business. Even though it was run down, many people still lived in the area, especially those stowaways who couldn't leave quickly due to accidents. I could definitely sense the presence of quite a few people around. So, I headed towards the more crowded areas, wandering the streets for a while before spotting a lit sign in a secluded area, indicating the entrance to an underground tavern. Next to the sign was a staircase leading down to the basement, the door half open, probably to prevent the intrusion of monsters or the like. Sensing the presence of quite a few people below, I stopped there. Lan Yu, we've been walking around for a while and haven't found any open shops. Why don't we go downstairs? Even if we can't find a place to eat, we can go to the tavern and ask about what's going on here, I said. Lan Yu glanced at the stairs below and said, let's do it. Together, we descended the dimly lit stairs that led to the basement. After passing the stairs and turning right, we found a passageway leading to the front. This should be the path to the tavern, so we headed there. After a short walk, I arrived at a closed door. Even though it was closed, we could hear the sounds of humans chattering inside and light peeking through the crack. I knocked on the door immediately. After a moment, someone approached, carefully examined the crack, and after confirming that the person outside wasn't a monster, they opened it. When the door opened, we saw a middle-aged man in a bartender's uniform. I asked him as soon as I saw him, excuse me, is there a place for us to have lunch here? Hearing this, the middle-aged man glanced at us and saw that we were still very young, and said, you look like you are the ones who came to this area later, and you look so young? Yes, we just arrived in this town at noon today, I responded. Really? It's very dangerous here. Isn't it a pity for young people like you to lose their lives? If you have the ability, it's better to leave here as soon as possible, the middle-aged man said. Excuse me, did anything happen here? Lan Yu asked at this time. Something did happen here, but this should be generally known to all. The incident of those black monsters invading our world. Although the impact here is more serious than other areas, let's not talk about it for now. I see that you are also very hungry. Come in first. There is an underground restaurant next to the wine house. It is a temporary restaurant opened specifically for this disaster, the middle-aged man said, and then made way. Seeing this, we nodded to the man and walked through the door. Passing the nearby tavern, we headed towards another empty area next to it. According to the man, this was the space previously used as a restaurant to accommodate our group. There were numerous set tables, and the place was quite crowded. Because of the large number of people, the tables had been extended to the other side, leading to a basement area outside the main entrance on the other side of the tavern. There were also numerous set tables outside this area, and all kinds of people gathered there, some drinking and eating, some chatting, and some just brooding. Lan Yu and I found an empty seat on the steps separating the tavern from the outside area, so we headed there. According to the bartender, most of the people here were from other places, those who had stowed away, or those with nowhere else to go. While we were waiting at the empty seats, a man who looked to be about 50 years old, dressed simply and wearing sunglasses came over. This person still smelled of alcohol. When he saw us two young people sitting here, he said, two young men and women, why are you here? He was probably a little drunk, and I don't know if he was just chatting us up, but we just wanted to ask about what was going on here, so I looked at him and replied, to be honest, we came from the academy area, and we can be considered as people on a mission. On a mission? What mission? I think you can understand this a little bit. Look at the current situation. Whether it is the New Century capital or the surrounding areas, or even the more distant countries, they have all been attacked by the monsters with unknown origins and all black bodies. We are investigators sent by the Holy Water Spirit Academy. We just happened to pass by here and would like to ask you if anything happened here, I said again. Oh, I see. So you are professionals who just came here. You are so young, and you probably don't know some of the things that happened here. Brother, I have nothing to do today because the business is closed, so I might as well tell you about what happened here. The man in sunglasses said okay, we're happy to listen to you. Please take a seat. I gestured to the uncle in sunglasses to sit in the empty seat opposite us. Then, the uncle wandered over to the seat opposite us. Okay, let me tell you. I'm actually a liquor store owner in this town. I've been here for at least 8 years, so I'm pretty familiar with the situation here, like the underground trade, smuggling, and illegal immigration. Of course, I'm just talking about it, the man in sunglasses said. Hearing this, I said, I see. You mean you know this place very well. Why don't you tell me what's been going on recently? Why don't we see almost no one when we're walking around outside? And even if we do see people, they seem a little panicked and quickly run away. About that, the sky here was already getting strange a week before the so-called black monster appeared. This place was already a strange place, but it's getting stranger and stranger. Since then, the environment has been getting worse. About 5 or 6 days ago, the black monster appeared. It's indeed an early appearance here, but it wasn't reported on TV at the time. Really, I said. It's normal that the TV didn't report it. After all, events related to Warcraft were still a secret until recently. Let me hear your details. Chapter 302. What happened here? Next to the underground tavern, we spoke with a man in his early 50s wearing sunglasses. He explained some unusual phenomena that had been occurring in the area about a week prior. First, there were strange changes in the sky, and then there were the appearances of monsters, all of which happened without our knowledge. Then, taking advantage of the monster unrest, citizens began to commit crimes, including robberies and robberies. According to the man in sunglasses, it seemed to be a violent gang, allegedly taking advantage of the situation. Consequently, all the shops in the nearby residential area were tightly closed. Excuse me, this area is a crime-ridden area. Did the Mecha troops responsible for public security do anything? I asked from my seat. That's right. A few days ago, the black monsters here appeared on a large scale and spread over a very wide area. The Mecha troops nearby almost dispatched their entire lineup to suppress them everywhere, but those bad groups seem to have actually seen the right time and took advantage of the lax defense to commit illegal acts. My shop almost suffered a disaster a few days ago. Fortunately, I handed over some money to save the shop, said the uncle in sunglasses. Hearing this, Lan Yu, who was sitting next to me, said, "Then, uncle, do you know any information about that gang?" Hearing this, the drunk uncle pondered for a moment, then said, "Part of that group may be the Black Spider, a relatively well-known organization among the underworld forces." Those words caught the attention of everyone around us. 2 young men at the table next to us came over and advised the old man, "All right, Jiu, you shouldn't say these things here." If there are spies from that organization here, they both continued to advise him. Seeing this, we realized that the organization was likely quite powerful. With the demonic forces currently in turmoil, I couldn't help but wonder if their members were connected to them. Otherwise, why would they deploy at such a perfect time? I see. I told those 2 young men that they're not ordinary people just for the sake of a more peaceful and prosperous future for our street, the man in sunglasses said. "All right, you've had too much to drink. Better sober up," the young man next to him said. "I'm sober. If we don't destroy that, what future does our town have?" Hearing this, the young man beside him also understood and lessened his worry. "It's true," he said. "We're occasionally bullied around here, and now with the appearance of that black monster, things have gotten even worse." "Yes, brother Jiu, you're right. In times like this, we should unite. If an organized group comes looking for trouble, we should join forces," someone nearby said. "Well said. Putting that black monster aside, at least those of us who live here can't be bullied by evil forces. This is where we live." His words resonated with many people. Those around the basement bar had all been affected by the organization's interference to some extent, or had heard of it. They couldn't help but start discussing it. At this time, I nodded slightly to the uncle with sunglasses in front of me and expressed my gratitude. "Thank you very much, brother, for telling us these things." "You're welcome. This is also for everyone. You are special people. I can still see that you are different from those of us who reek of alcohol. You exude a unique heroic spirit," the uncle with sunglasses said. "You are too kind," I responded. After a while, we finished the food on the table, and then Lan Yu saw the time and said, "Well, our lunch is almost done. We have something important to do later, so we'll leave first." Hearing this, the half-drunk uncle with sunglasses said, "Really? If you want to stay overnight nearby, there are spare rooms next to this wine house. You can stay here if you don't mind," the uncle said. Seeing this, Lan Yu and I stood up one after another. Before leaving, we saluted and nodded one after another. Then, I said, "Thank you very much." Then we went together towards the exit at the other end of the wine house. It was 2:15 p.m. when we exited the other side of the tavern and emerged into town. As usual, the surroundings were swirling with dust, and the sky was thick with black fog. Here, too, a gray haze enveloped the surroundings, making them even more hazy. The weather was indeed not very good. After leaving, I spent some time here, but I no longer sensed the sinister aura I'd felt before. I wondered if the demon had departed. We wandered the desolate town for a while, finding no clues. I took out the jade again to confirm our surroundings and our direction. Holding the jade, it glowed green for a moment, and a miniature map appeared on the stone's outline. This time, the navigation indicator was clearly marked within our current area. It was right here, right under our feet, the perimeter of the town. Although the indicator indicated this area, the range was probably around 20 kilometers. We were probably already near the center. Furthermore, the jade stone showed no signs of glowing, meaning that at least the target we were pursuing wasn't nearby, yet the indicator was pointing there. We were all puzzled, wondering if the jade stone indicated something or if it was broken. Brother, the needle on it indicates where we are, so there must be something nearby. We need to investigate, Lan Yu said. Hearing this, I said, yes, if there's nothing wrong with the jade stone, then we'll stay here for a while until we get a result. That's settled, Lan Yu said. We concluded that there was a strong possibility of something here. First, we sensed a powerful demonic aura before arriving here, and second, the town here looked very suspicious. In short, we couldn't miss this place. Besides the indicator indicating our current location on the map, there were only a few scattered energy diffusion points nearby, likely belonging to demons or something similar. Then we set out again, looking for clues, starting with the surrounding demons and the like. If we need to find a temporary place to stay at night, we will follow what the uncle with sunglasses said before and stay in the empty room next to the underground wine house. Chapter 303 Progress. Afterward, we wandered the town streets, following the jade's clues and indeed finding several spots where monsters were spotted. The air in this dusty, and hazy town was truly awful, and the monster's presence was mysterious and elusive, appearing and disappearing. They seemed to exploit the surrounding environment, like their habitats. Not only were Lan Yu and I hard to detect, but even the jade's map made it difficult to discern their presence. That afternoon, apart from visiting several monster spots and subduing them, we gained nothing else. Supposedly, monsters used to appear more frequently, but this afternoon, at least, there were only a few or so. Perhaps they were largely suppressed by the Mecha guards. Another possibility was our arrival. Perhaps something truly happened to this entire town, the entire town as a whole. I've heard the holy goddess Ashisha say before that the dark entity cannot be detected through sensory perception, as its magical power is integrated with the entire planet, making it extremely difficult to detect. Perhaps the current situation is similar. But we can't confirm this yet, we can only wait and see. As dusk fell, the sky grew even darker. During this time, the townspeople were even more afraid to leave their homes. The surrounding miasma was thicker due to the demonic energy, and the darkening sky became even more eerie. Having previously learned about the habits of magical beasts, night is their most opportune time. With the arrival of dusk, the yang energy dissipates and the yin energy rises, increasing the magical power of the beasts. Although it was only around 5:40 in the evening, the sky was already as dark as night. Given this situation, we shouldn't remain in this place with such a thick atmosphere, lest it disturb our minds and be detrimental to its practitioners. It's getting dark. Why don't we go back to that underground tavern we visited earlier, have a meal, and discuss staying there, I said at a corner of the street. Lan Yu, who was standing beside me, observing the surroundings, closed her eyes and replied, okay, let's go back there first and discuss it later. We'll take action if something special comes up. Yes, let's go, I said. We all agreed and headed towards the underground tavern. In the evening, we returned to the underground tavern we had visited before. Through the underground tunnels on the other side of the tavern, we found many other places connected to it, houses, high-rise buildings, and other entertainment venues. We had noticed something on our way back. On our way, we returned to the tavern. Around the tavern, we could still see many of the people we had met at lunch. Some of them had returned, partly because dinner was approaching, and partly because they had been here all afternoon. Among them were two young men we were quite familiar with, the same ones who had been with the old man selling alcohol and trying to persuade him. We met again at the tavern. The two young men saw us, and one of them, the brown-haired one, approached us and said, "You two, you're back again. Have you decided to stay here for the night?" Hearing this, I said, "Indeed, there's something nearby worth investigating, so we'd like to stay for a while. If there's a room available." Yes. There's a building over there in the underground tunnel. It's large and has plenty of space, capable of accommodating hundreds or even thousands of people. There are air defense facilities on the outer layer, Like an air defense headquarters. If you don't mind, I'll take you there, the brown-haired young man said. Okay, thank you very much, I said. Lan Yu and I nodded in thanks. You're welcome. You must be extraordinary people. You're staying here, investigating, for the sake of peace here. We all want peace, the other young man said. Then, led by the two young men, Lan Yu and I headed towards the designated building. You should be Mecha users, right? Compared with the people here, you look extraordinary, the brown-haired young man said. Indeed, I am a student of the Holy Water Spirit College, and my sister is a student of the Holy Silver College. We can both drive mechas. On the way, I explained. I see. I have indeed heard of those two colleges. They are two very famous Mecha colleges, aren't they? Said another young man in jeans. I believe your operating level is quite high. If you can help us deal with foreign enemies, that would be great, the brown-haired male lover said. Our mission is to solve the anomaly caused by the arrival of the black monster. We will do our best to do what we can here, I said. That's great. With you here, even the Black Spider organization and the black monster will be no problem, the brown-haired young man said. We will stay here for a while before the incident is investigated clearly. Please give us your guidance, Lan Yu said. Okay, after talking with the two young men, we gradually went deeper into the underground tunnel. Soon, led by the young man, we came to a staircase behind the turning corner. The staircase before us was quite wide, seemingly leading to a building above. The brown-haired young man said, going up here, we'll reach the interior of that building. I see. This is truly a hidden place, I said. After all, there are various reasons for this situation, but that's fine. We'll use that building as our headquarters, from where we'll formulate our plans against those who disrupt the peace, the brown-haired young man said. By the way, I haven't asked your names yet. I'm Liu Chang, the young man in jeans said. I'm Liu Yu, his older brother, the brown-haired young man said. Hearing this, I said, I'm Li Xingze, and the one next to me is my sister, Li Lanyu. After a brief conversation, we headed up the stairs. We ascended the stairs and entered the building. Elevators opened to the upper floors, and Liu Yu and his brother led us inside. Observing the elevator buttons, we saw that the building had 23 floors. Operations headquarters is on the 11th floor. We'll take you there first to meet the people there, and then we'll arrange your accommodations. Is that alright? Liu Yu said. We're going to the 11th floor first, to operations headquarters. A place like that would surely give us more useful information, so a visit wouldn't hurt. Okay, let's go there, I said. Liu Yu then pressed the button for the 11th floor, and the elevator ascended. A moment later, it stopped at the next floor. With a ding, the elevator doors opened, and we all emerged, Liu Yu leading the way. He led us through a long corridor in front of the elevator doors, heading toward the lobby on the other side. Turning a corner, we arrived at a large room. Several people were seated there, including the man in sunglasses, now in a suit. Seated at a nearby conference table. Seeing us arrive, the older man couldn't help but notice us. He walked over and said, Are you here? That's great. No, you seem to have made up your mind, I said. After talking with you, some of us decided not to sit here and wait for death. We're ready to take the initiative and make this our base, the man with sunglasses said. Really? That's good. It brings some unity, I said. Well, thanks to you, this building is one of the tallest in the area. From here, we can use it as a lookout point to observe the surrounding situation and be prepared for any emergencies. After talking, we met the people here and were led by a local staff member to our rooms. The room was on the 18th floor, near the center, and it was a relatively spacious and luxurious residence. After receiving the key, we moved in. Lan Yu and I then took a look around the room. It was a nice place. Although it was relatively empty, it suited our living needs. After all, cultivators don't need too much external distractions. From the nearby window, we could see the general vista of the town. Since this place was near the center of town, we should be able to spot anything going on. After tidying up the room and deciding to stay, Lan Yu and I sat down on the sofa in the living room. It's been a hard day, let's take a break, I said. Lan Yu replied, That's right, brother. Are you thirsty? I'll get you a glass of water. Lan Yu, thirsty, went to the water dispenser we'd already checked and poured herself a glass of water. She drank from it, then brought another one over and placed it on the table in front of me. I took it and drank from it. It was almost time for dinner. Want to go eat later? I asked. No, I'll stay here, Lan Yu said. Really? Then we'll stay here for the night, waiting for anything else to happen, I said, and Lan Yu nodded in agreement. Around 8 o'clock in the evening, with no significant incidents thus far, I went to the 11th floor operations headquarters to gather detailed information about the area. Through conversation, I learned that this was a gathering place for intelligence, often responsible for disseminating it. Of course, this wasn't the kind of shady information, it was a legitimate organization. It had observation towers, defense equipment, and a central control center. Afterward, I negotiated with the personnel, and they agreed to send the latest intelligence data over shortly. Afterward, Lan Yu and I received a more detailed file on the area. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304 Progress. The night passed as we reviewed the documents. As the night wore on, Lan Yu and I retired to bed. Nothing of importance had occurred since we arrived here at noon. Then, the sky darkened, and the moon hung low in the sky. Although the sun's radiance was no longer visible, the faint reddish hue of the moon was still visible overnight. Nothing of importance had occurred. Within the building, people took shifts to monitor the surroundings. Everyone, both original and newly recruited, stood united in their efforts to prevent the arrival of the black monster. The building's defenses, from the 1st to the 6th floors, served as a defensive perimeter to prevent intrusion. From the 7th floor onwards, the residence quarters were located. Above that, the 11th floor housed the headquarters. From the 11th to the 19th floors, there were residences and other facilities. Many of these rooms housed people using high-level surveillance to monitor the surroundings. The 13th floor served as the central control center. The 21st floor was the surveillance area, housing a special astronomical telescope, and the 22nd and 23rd floors served as the upper defense perimeter. The next morning, Lan Yu and I quickly washed and tidied ourselves, then prepared a simple breakfast using the food supplies in the room. There was a TV, and while we ate at the dining table, we turned on the news to check on the progress of the Black Monster incident, as well as the outside world's reactions and responses. With just a simple breakfast of milk and bread, our focus was primarily on the news. Due to the current emergency, most channels were reporting on the situation in various regions. We watched the local news, which reported that the black monsters were still active, attacking, destroying, and causing unrest in human towns. The situation was strange, and the occurrence varied from place to place. Currently, the outside world is unanimously referring to this incident as a black monster invasion, with the black monsters also being referred to as demon beasts or demon monsters. The news reports suggest that the appearance of the black monsters is linked to the gray haze that has obscured the sky, which we understand. This situation isn't limited to the skies above our new century capital. Looking further afield, the outer world and surrounding lands, approximately 1/3 of the Earth, are mired in this unusual weather phenomenon, obscuring the sun. Regarding that black monster, it's still appearing across the country. It favors darkness and is often extremely ferocious. Citizens, please be careful when encountering one, and avoid traveling alone in dangerous areas. Various regions and cities are currently in trouble. We urge everyone to exercise caution and unite to overcome this difficult situation. The Weather Bureau and various research institutions have begun a comprehensive investigation into this phenomenon, and will have more information soon, the TV host said. The scene then shifted to footage of several cities, revealing widespread destruction. Those who can afford it are traveling in mecha escorts, while those who can't must travel in groups or conduct their daily lives under the watchful eyes of mecha escorts. That was the general news. Lan Yu and I finished breakfast, and in the remaining time, we continued reading about recent and past events in the small town of District 15. Let's wait for a moment. If nothing else, we'll set off later, Lan Yu said as she reviewed the documents. Yes, I nodded in agreement, then flipped through the files. As the man with sunglasses had said, the recent developments we've learned are consistent with his description. However, the records of the illegal organizations in the files do show that they began to make movements since the sudden change in the sky, starting 11 days ago. Previously, these shady forces, such as the Black Spiders, were merely conducting covert transactions and minor incidents in this town. Recently, however, they've become a completely different group, engaging in large-scale operations, taking advantage of the demonic influence and catching the security forces off guard. Robbery, vandalism, and extortion are occurring frequently and with extraordinary audacity. This suggests something fishy is going on. Part of the reason is the demonic influence, but I suspect there's something else at play. After careful speculation, there are only two possibilities. One is that the demonic forces are secretly colluding with those underworld forces and jointly causing this commotion. The other is that they are being controlled by demonic forces, and otherwise coerced. After all, those people are experiencing strong negative emotions, so it's normal for them to be possessed by demonic forces afterward. After gathering some information, at 8:20 a.m., with no progress, we once again left the building and began our journey. Today, I observed the Jadestone, and the Jade's guiding mark is still located above our town. If I'm not mistaken, there's at least one special entity lurking in this town. Because the area is so large, covering the entire town, we can't currently determine its location. However, the Jadestone still shows the magical beasts roaming around. This morning, Lan Yu and I agreed with the people in the building to march out and contact each other if anything happens. This strategy means we're collaborating with some of the people in this town. This morning, Lan Yu and I wandered the streets of this town, using Jade to observe the locations of the demonic beasts and to directly confirm what was about to happen. The sky was as dark as usual, and the wind was strong today, making it look like rain. If we can't find any clues now, we can only wait for them to make a move. Although the demonic beasts still occasionally appear from various locations, including the sky and other dark areas, their appearances are unbelievable. So far, we haven't been able to find the key source. Finding that is exactly the purpose of our street parade today. We'll try to stay on the side streets to avoid attracting too much attention. There are few people on the streets now, so our presence alone would stand out. If the demonic forces are deliberately wary of us, then we should do so. At least, as long as the situation progresses, I can do what I can. Today, we'll continue to selectively patrol, using Jade to visit some of the demonic beasts' locations to confirm whether there are any behind the scenes. If the problem is not serious, we'll also selectively track some of the demonic beasts. That morning, we quietly began our investigation. A full morning passed, but we found no significant leads. In a secluded corner, we watched as the demonic beasts entered a dimly lit area and vanished. Lan Yu said, "Brother, this isn't a solution. I don't think just looking for those demonic beasts will help. We need to find other sources, really. The key point, besides the demonic beasts, should be," I said. Indeed, as Lan Yu had said, the demonic beasts were appearing across a wide area, not just in this town. So, if there were any other possible sources, it would have to be the Dark Organization. Chapter 305, where the target is hidden. That Dark Organization, Lan Yu said. Her words revealed our next target. That's true, but we'll have to wait to find them. It seems they're disappearing as the black monsters gradually decrease in number, I said. In a secluded corner, we immediately began our search. To find the members of that organization, and indeed the individuals truly connected to the monsters currently lurking in this town, we'll likely need the help of those who have joined forces. They know this town intimately, while we, by comparison, are largely unknown. At noon, having found little, we headed towards the underground tavern, stopping there for lunch. Next to the underground tavern was a makeshift food distribution center, where many people ate and exchanged intelligence with our frontline personnel. Besides us, there were other investigators, too. They were eating and quietly exchanging information. Of course, at this moment, we also needed some information to confirm the whereabouts of the dark organizations in this town. So, we talked with the people here, searching for clues. Then, just like yesterday, we wandered around again, returning to the building in the evening. After checking with the building's intelligence sources, we still hadn't detected any movement from those underworld organizations. That's how we spent the day. The next morning, Lan Yu and I were inside the building, observing our surroundings. Today, I took out the jade I'd kept on my body, but still couldn't sense any clues. The jade's guidance was still pointing us to the same place. This was already the third day, and everything was going relatively well. But that wasn't good news for us. The holy goddess Ashisha had instructed us to find the dark goddess of destruction as soon as possible, otherwise, not only this place, but the entire planet would be in danger. The key to our search was to find some kind of unusual event, and at the moment, we had no clues. This was not a solution. In the room on the 18th floor, Lan Yu and I waited. After a while, Lan Yu said, "If we continue to find no clues, we'll have to consider other options." "What do you mean?" I asked, standing by the window beside the hall. "A week? We've got a week to spend here. If we can't find anything within that week, we have to consider leaving," Lan Yu said. Hearing this, I thought for a moment and said, "Is that so?" "You're right. There are many more demonicons outside, in more remote areas. If this is just a trap to trap us, then we have to do it." After that conversation, we continued to wander around the town. After a morning of still no results, at noon, we returned to the underground tavern as we had yesterday. After several days of travel, we were familiar with the several entrances to the underground tunnels. Because of the recent events, the food stall next to the tavern had become quite popular, with all kinds of people flocking there. On our way there, groups of people were walking in the passage. The forks were more crowded, and the crowds here were mixed, a diverse mix. Therefore, we proceeded cautiously, not saying anything rash. Arriving at the restaurant next to the tavern, we found a table near the edge of the building. We planned to gather intelligence about this place and the surrounding area today, perhaps uncovering something. With this in mind, Lan Yu and I had agreed upon arriving to stay in this dark place for a while. So, after finding a seat, we ordered some drinks and snacks, preparing to observe. While we ate, we observed the people around us. Now that we think about it, we haven't confirmed anyone here. This place is chaotic, and there's a high possibility that some other organization is operating here. Instead of wandering around and waiting, perhaps it would be a better idea to stay here and wait. Besides the familiar faces around the underground tavern, there were also many strangers. Perhaps because we knew some of them and confirmed their condition, they were fine and unaffected by the monsters. However, a quick inspection revealed that quite a few of them were shrouded in a dark aura. Perhaps the demonic aura that permeated this entire town had blinded us, but there were indeed some unusual individuals present. The few groups of people drinking and chatting in the tavern seemed suspicious. Perhaps they, like us sitting nearby, were gathering information about the place. This underground tavern was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it could provide us with the information we needed, but at the same time, it also contained third parties, some of whom were even more likely to be the monster's minions, the demon children and demon people. By now, Lan Yu and I were probably both aware of this. "Those guys over there are suspicious. It looks like we've found our target," said Lan Yu, who was sipping juice through a straw beside me, head bowed. She was wearing a hat, a slight disguise. I was also wearing a gray-blue windbreaker. "Well, we'll have to keep an eye on them later. Those guys' minds are black, and they look controlled. They might be connected to the dark organization in the data," I said. "That's right, there are no familiar faces," Lan Yu said. "The faces of those who have committed illegal acts are mostly recorded in our data. Although we can't see them now, since they are demons, it's easy for them to disguise themselves with makeup. This is probably their way of avoiding suspicion. They may have kept it a secret from us for a few days," I said. "Really, I don't know what their purpose is. Maybe they were targeting us and that building. We must make a quick decision. We can't let them continue their preparations. That would be very disadvantageous to us," I added. With that, we continued to sit there, waiting for the situation to change. After a while, the group, led by a man in a white suit and a white hat, seemed bored and began to pay their bills, preparing to leave. Two others followed the man in the white suit. Those three weren't normal people. Seeing what they were looking for, Lan Yu and I exchanged glances and rose from our seats to pay our bills, preparing to follow them and investigate. After paying, Lan Yu and I masked our presence and quietly followed behind the three, advancing slowly. Those three were the most unusual. While there were other suspicious individuals in the underground tavern, their auras couldn't be compared to the three leaving. There was a distinct difference between the two. They might also be surveillance, but the three leaving were no ordinary people. With my level of cultivation, I could discern this, and Lan Yu also had some understanding. Pretending to be a couple, we slowly followed, gradually following the other side of the underground tunnel, towards a route we had never taken before. We followed them, maintaining a respectable distance, trying to follow them quietly and without being noticed. Too far away would easily allow them to escape. We hadn't yet pinpointed their hiding spot, and if they escaped, our efforts would be in vain. Therefore, we tried to keep them within sight and follow them. After a short distance, The three seemed to be heading deeper into the underground tunnel. After the road turned, there was only a dead end leading to the tunnel. I realized there was no way forward, and yet the three were heading that way. At that moment, in a passage before the turning, someone entered the underground tunnel from the upper passage. At first glance, we saw the person approaching was a middle-aged man wearing sunglasses and sporting a long, untidy beard. He was the man we knew. He waved and approached us, saying, "Hey, is that you? Why are you here?" "There's no way out." His voice was loud, and it undoubtedly reached the three people heading deeper into the dead end. Led by the man in the white suit, they turned and headed our way. After a moment, their eyes met ours. The man in the white suit asked, "Are you following us?" The other two soon joined him. "What happened?" the man in the sunglasses asked, puzzled for a moment. But by then, Lan Yu and I had already sensed a thick, cold aura emanating from the man in the white suit. That dark aura was filled with a sense of repulsion and danger. "Be careful, uncle. Those three aren't ordinary people," I said. "Those three over there, they're heading that way even though there's a dead end ahead." "Does that mean something?" the man in sunglasses murmured, understanding something. HMPH, at that moment, the man in the white suit let out a malicious smirk. A dark aura permeated the air, and a black whirlwind suddenly swept over, enveloping the three men, led by the man in the white suit. A vast expanse of black energy instantly spread. A surge of pervasive demonic energy swept over like a fierce wind, sending a shudder through our hearts. We'd found a hidden individual. Right here. Instantly, the black wind parted, revealing two ferocious monsters. Their eyes were dark red, their bodies covered in muscle, and they looked incredibly strong, half-human. By then, the man in sunglasses had already fallen to the ground in shock from the sudden incident. "What happened? Are those guys actually monsters? Have they invaded?" The man in sunglasses panicked. "Uncle, get out of here quickly. It's dangerous." I stood in front of him, dealing with the two beasts. "How could this happen? Aren't you also?" The man in sunglasses slowly climbed to his feet and said, "Let's go, uncle." "Did you say we're not ordinary people?" "As you said, we're not ordinary people. There's no need to worry about us. Get out of there quickly," Lan Yu, standing nearby, advised him. Lan Yu then transformed into a white sword. The man, realizing his presence was causing trouble, began to run towards the underground stairs, returning to the surface. "I understand. I'll find help in a moment," the man said, and he ran off, quickly leaving the stairs. Chapter 306 Monster Appears. For a moment, Lan Yu and I faced off against two half-humanoid monsters emitting a thick demonic aura. Both beasts, each with sharp fangs and ferocious features, roared as they charged at us. Despite their massive size, they moved with remarkable speed, like two dark shadows, emitting a dangerous aura as they advanced. I could see their movements, while swift and powerful, they lacked both mastery and power. I remained motionless. At my side, Lan Yu, wielding her white sword, shimmering with a faint silvery sheen, slashed with two streaks of silver light as the two beasts approached, crisscrossing them. Instantly, the two approaching beasts lost their balance mid-flight and flew off to our left and right. The two massive figures collided with the ground, causing a slight tremor. Those two beasts also seemed different from ordinary beasts. Their power was probably even greater than any beast-man-like beasts I'd encountered before, rivaling even ordinary Mechas. However, Lan Yu and I were no match for such creatures. The strong, sinister aura I'd felt earlier wasn't emanating from those two beasts. Those two beasts were probably the three men standing on either side of the man in the white suit, and that man was our target. Where was he now? I immediately used my spiritual sense to search for the creature, sweeping across the entire town, but I couldn't detect its presence. It couldn't have escaped beyond that point. It was right before our eyes, but its presence had vanished. If it hadn't left, it must have gone into hiding somewhere. Or, as Ashatia had said, it might have used the overwhelming demonic energy permeating the town as a disguise, blending in with it and deceiving my perception. With that conclusion, I immediately looked around for the figure. I couldn't find it anywhere, so... "Brother, that creature appeared for a moment and then disappeared again," Lan Yu said. "Well, it didn't flee the town. It's hiding somewhere nearby," I asked. "So how do we find it?" Lan Yu asked. Hearing that, I carefully observed my surroundings, pondered for a moment, and said, "The demon just escaped in the black whirlwind. Before that, they disguised themselves as three people and were heading somewhere. Let's go there and take a look. That makes sense. With that, we looked in the direction the three had gone. Deep inside, there was a straight tunnel that ended in a dead end. Even though we knew this, we still slowly walked towards it. At the end of the tunnel, a faint black aura permeated the air. The demonic energy there was much richer and more sinister than elsewhere. Perhaps there really was something there, and perhaps that creature was hiding nearby. Lan Yu and I approached the depths. As we approached, I said, "Be careful. There's probably something in there." Lan Yu nodded slightly and continued walking deeper with me. After a few steps, we arrived at a block intersection, shrouded in a shroud of black air. We both stopped and gazed at the pervasive black aura. We could truly sense a sinister power within the veiled demonic energy. Since we were so close, I feared the being couldn't hide even if he tried. "Come out. I know what you're doing. You've relied on this immense demonic energy to hide underground. Trying to deceive us like this is impossible. Come out now," I said. As I spoke, the pervasive black aura before me, along with the entire blocked road ahead, began to shake. For a moment, the place we stood on shook as if it were a minor earthquake. Immediately, a dark figure appeared before me. Suddenly, the terrifying demonic energy finally broke free and spread throughout the town, as if centered around this black figure, its aura obscuring the sky and obscuring the sun. A chilling wind blew, and demons and monsters seemed to be reveling in a frenzy. Before our eyes, countless tiny black dots appeared. A closer look revealed them to be demons and demonic beings. They surrounded a massive face, formed from black mist, roughly the size of the blocked intersection. The strange-faced monster, seemingly formed from black mist, opened its mouth and spoke. "Have you been discovered? There's nothing I can do. I had been planning to slowly crush you from within, but in this case, I'll just finish you off in one fell swoop, boy." With those words, the black energy transformed into a powerful black shockwave, piercing the rock face above, shattering vast swathes of rock and carving a path upwards, soaring into the sky. Numerous rock fragments and sand rained down. We retreated slightly, then saw light above. The creature had already escaped upwards. Given that, there was no reason not to pursue. The jade stone indicated its target. Immediately, Lan Yu and I ascended towards the shattered cave entrance above, arriving directly above the town. Looking out, a gaping hole opened up in the town streets, like a black hole. This heightened the vigilance and fear of the surrounding residents, and those nearby, realizing the demonic presence, began to flee. At this moment, I was hovering in midair, atop a cyan red cloud, Lan Yu, also capable of flight, following beside me. Not far away, the black figure gradually transformed from mist. A swirling black wind swirled around the demonic figure, its aura slowly spreading outward. A male figure, clad in black, sinister armor and with long black hair, appeared before us. He exuded a powerful malevolence, unmistakably our target. "How about this? In this human form, I will escort you to your doom," the dark, evil man spoke. "Is that so? You are the great being lurking in this land. Before we confront you, let me ask you, monster? Is it you who caused this massive commotion across the world?" I asked. "Why should I tell you?" he replied. "The dark goddess of destruction, it can't be you," I asked again. "The dark goddess of destruction? Are you talking about Ashisha? How do you know it's not me?" he chuckled. "It's true that the dark goddess of destruction should be female, but changing her appearance is a simple matter. I don't think so based on her personality. After all, I've seen her before," I said. "You mean, that guy doesn't seem to be the source of the problem," Lan Yu said. "I see." The evil men, emitting a thick black aura, continued to chuckle, seemingly unafraid of us, as if they were at ease. Chapter 307 Battle. The demonic man was currently suspended in midair, emanating a vast magical energy. Numerous demonic creatures and monsters appeared around us, gradually materializing from a black mist. Most were relatively small. They were scattered all around us. A dangerous aura hung over the center of this town. "It seems there's nothing to say, demon. If you stand in our way, we'll have to destroy you," I said. Even so, the immense demonic aura emanating from the demon was truly dense and terrifying. This wasn't just any creature, it was a great demon king. This seemed to be its home turf. Confronting it wouldn't be easy, this entire city might be destroyed. Even so, I had no choice. I couldn't understand why a great demon king, unlike those of this world, would appear. Perhaps it was connected to the goddess of darkness and destruction that Ashisha had mentioned. Who do you think you are to destroy me? I can finish you with just 2 flicks of my finger, the evil man said. You're too naive, aren't you? Who are you? If you don't want to talk, I'll have to wait a while, I said. Upon hearing this, the evil man merely chuckled, a smile that was truly sinister. Immediately, he waved his hand, and the humanoid demon soldiers and beasts surrounding him rushed towards us. Seeing this, I manifested a black longsword. The best way to deal with demons, especially demons, is to use the power of divine spells. I imbue the sword with magical energy, coordinating with the force of change. With a single swing of the sword, countless light particles transformed into slashing blows, spreading out and sweeping across a vast area. Sparks blazed in the air, and the approaching demon soldiers and beasts, affected by the impact of the slash and the spell power, were instantly dissipated in the white light. They transformed into black air, falling into fragments and dissipating. A gentle breeze blew past, and the sky seemed relatively empty again. The demonic soldiers and beasts had been largely wiped out. Seeing this, the evil demon man's eyes widened slightly, comprehending the situation. The man in the gray-blue windbreaker had instantly dispatched all the young warriors he had summoned, demonstrating his extraordinary power. Indeed, not long ago, the evil demon man had been tasked with clearing out this area, including the Holy Water Spirit Academy and the New Century capital. He had been instructed to pay special attention to this very person. Of course, he had initially disregarded the Dark Destruction Goddess's words, but now, seeing this, he felt compelled to pay special attention. So, you do have some skills, worthy of a fight with me, the demon said. Stop the nonsense. Let me be clear, if I use cursed energy against a monster of your caliber, you'll be annihilated. Prepare yourselves, huh? I said. The demon chuckled and said, HMPH, cursed energy? That's only good for dealing with small foes, but you're overthinking it for me. Today, I'll obey the goddess of destruction and unleash my true strength to finish you off, okay? I leaped forward, sword in hand, and approached the monster. Seeing me, the monster extended a hand towards me. Immediately, multiple swirling circular formations formed around me, forming a dark barrier blocking my path. There were circular formations on all sides. A dark light rippled within the formations, and their demonic energy unleashed, creating a massive pressure. From the formations, numerous black magic fireballs, blades, and all manner of otherworldly monsters, including serpents and birds of prey, suddenly emerged and attacked. Seeing this, I didn't stop. Facing the attacks from all sides, I gathered strength with my sword. The power of the divine mantra and the immense energy within it resonated with my current state of cultivation. I instantly slashed forward with my sword. Within the multifaceted circular formation, a wave of white light, spearheaded by my single strike, erupted in all directions, transforming into slashing blows. Like layers of raging waves, these slashing blows collided with the multifaceted demonic attacks, their power clashing. However, my slashing blows, built upon the power of the divine mantra, were specifically designed to counter demons. Instantly, the white slashes overwhelmed the multifaceted demonic attacks. Various flaming bombs, blades, and otherworldly demons were reduced to ash in the white slashes. The white slashing blows then impacted the circular formation, colliding with a second wave of attacks. The white impacts that had been directed at the 8-sided circular formation dissipated, leaving the circle intact. But immediately after my second slashing blow, a new wave of white impacts arrived, masking the incoming monster attacks and overwhelming the 8-sided circular formation with overwhelming force. The circular formations then disintegrated under the white slashing blows, breaking the opponent's formation. I once again used the stepping on green-red cloud technique in the air, thrusting my sword in front of the opponent and striking with it. The evil demon dodged to the side. I passed behind him, then circled back to pursue him with a looking back at the moon slash. The slash grazed his arm, barely grazing. At this moment, the evil demon man was shrouded in a dark aura, his expression serious. He immediately extended a pitch-black magic palm from his right hand towards me. I stepped back, trying to dodge, but the palm instantly transformed, enveloping me like a giant dragon claw, blocking out the sky and sun. My vision was instantly darkened. From Lan Yu's perspective, I was completely obscured by the evil demon man's enormous magic palm. Damn it, the evil demon man said. Suddenly, a dark aura permeated his dragon claw-shaped palm, and a massive amount of magic power gathered and pressed towards me. The impact of this magic power was likely even greater than mine. Lan Yu, watching from a distance, was also anxious. She looked over there, wondering if she should go help. The overwhelming magic power converged and pressed towards me. Based on the sheer power, I might not be able to withstand it, but defeating his attack would be more difficult. Suddenly, I emanated a golden shield from my body, forming a barrier. The evil demon continued to press against my position, but he struggled to break my barrier. His strength was truly extraordinary, a mountain-like pressure. If it had been before, my barrier would have crumbled, but now, I'd reached a new level. For a moment, the evil demon's pressure proved incapable of crushing me. Within the opaque, dark clutches, I chanted a spell. White light converged on my sword, and I swung it forward. Suddenly, a ray of light pierced the pitch-black clutches, and a crack gradually appeared outside them. White light rippled outward through the enormous dragon palm that the evil demon had manifested on his right arm. Immediately, my sword slashed through the jet-black dragon claw, creating a rift. Under the powerful spell-enhanced blow, the claw gradually shattered, crumbling like rubble. What? The evil demon frowned in pain. I emerged from the clutches and reached the man's side. At this moment, one of his hands was already broken, looking shattered. I told you, you'd better be prepared, I said. Meanwhile, the front half of the demonic man's shattered right hand slowly healed under the demonic energy, gradually returning to its human form. He couldn't help but flicker in pain as he recovered, thinking that this cursed power must be truly extraordinary, specifically designed to combat demons like us. Even powerful demon kings experience slow healing and a stinging pain under the influence of this cursed power. It's truly difficult to deal with. Boy, it seems you really have some skills. Where did you learn this? Are you using it specifically to deal with us? The demonic man said. I don't need to tell you. You seem to understand how powerful it is. If you know what's good for you, tell me the location of the dark destruction goddess, I said. Hearing this, the demonic man couldn't help but laugh again. Although still a little painful, it didn't bother him at all. He then said, Tell me, you really think you've defeated me like this, fool? I have many more tricks up my sleeve. As he spoke, despite the slight effect on him, his demonic energy remained undiminished, instead becoming even denser and more powerful. It seemed he still had his true potential. Meanwhile, on the other side, a number of Mecha troops and civilians, led by the man in sunglasses, approached one after another. The man in sunglasses seemed to have immediately gathered several other troops, who brought not only self-defense tools but also concealed military weapons, tranquilizer guns, and more. It's right there. It must be that monster, the one who just transformed into the man in the suit. The man in sunglasses, along with some other troops, pointed at the evil demon emanating a thick black aura above. That's the guy who sneaked into our secret meeting point and disrupted the peace and order of our town. We must defeat him, said the burly man holding a weapon nearby. Then everyone saw Lan Yu and I, now suspended in the air. Those two are truly extraordinary. They must possess special abilities and are here to help us, said Liu Yu, standing beside the man with sunglasses. You're right. We must also contribute to the defense of this place, he said. Meanwhile, several Mecha units, drawn by the commotion, approached. Besides the evil man, several remaining demonic beasts remained around us. Some, fearing to attack, simply watched from the sidelines. The Mecha unit's primary objective was to drive them away. Immediately, several Mecha units closed in, each using machine guns and missiles to destroy several of the surrounding demonic beasts. Some of the demonic beasts attempting to destroy the town streets were also captured. Everyone, this is dangerous. Please stay away, said the pilot of one of the mechas. The man with sunglasses and his companions also wanted to help, but it seemed difficult to do anything at the moment, so they retreated a few steps. However, some stepped forward to engage the demonic beasts. A moment later, the demonic man noticed several mechas approaching, destroying the demonic soldiers and beasts. Displeased, he waved his hand. Instantly, a stream of black magic transformed into a black whip, sweeping across the incoming mechas like a shadowy black light at breakneck speed. With a series of bangs, the powerful whip struck down several mechas, sending them crashing into the streets or walls of nearby towns. The sheer force of the blows destroyed over 50% of the mecha's performance. What was that? A Mecha user exclaimed. Before he could even fully grasp what had happened, He was already destroyed. I took in the scene around me and realized that continuing like this would only endanger those people. I looked at Lan Yu, who was not far behind me, and said, "Lan Yu, go help those people. Tell them to leave and not come over." Hearing this, Lan Yu looked at those people, then back at me and said, "Brother, is this okay?" "It's okay. I'll take care of the people down there, and I'll take care of that guy," I said. For a moment, our eyes met. After a moment, Lan Yu nodded and headed down. Then I turned my gaze back to the demonic man, who seemed to be doing okay. Chapter 308: The Rise and Fall of Demonic Power. At that moment, the evil demon, his figure radiating a fierce demonic aura, and I stared at each other from the sky above the town. His demonic aura permeated the entire town, even above it. For a moment, he declared, "Boy, I'm going to put my true skills to the test and send you on a journey back to the west. Alright, come on. I'm your opponent. If you've got what it takes, give it a try," I replied. "You don't have to tell me, I'll come too." As he spoke, the hazy black aura emanating from the evil demon's body gradually transformed, transforming into countless black blades, each imbued with rich, abundant magical energy. They immediately descended upon us like a storm. The speed, power, and sheer number of these blades, combined with the area they covered, practically obscured the sky. It was impossible to discern their number with the naked eye, making dodging difficult. Perhaps he anticipated the severity of my close-range blows and was therefore maintaining his distance. I had many choices. Facing the incoming black blades, like a swarm of crows, I used my divine power to create a white barrier to block the incoming attack. The swift, shadow-like blades stopped before the white barrier, emanating from it. Their radiance was indistinct, and they vanished beneath it. After all, it was magical, and under the power of this divine spell, magic was irresistible. Under this powerful wave of attack, many buildings behind me were pierced by the blades, many of them pierced through with holes, and some began to collapse. However, the area was relatively small, and a continued stalemate would be disastrous. An immediate resolution was necessary. The evil demon man, observing the situation before him, thought to himself that the man had not only defended himself from the onslaught, but had also used the vast white barrier to block a significant area of attack, seemingly sparing the surrounding buildings as well. He must have considered that many people might be in nearby buildings, and that a collapse would be disastrous. In other words, he seemed quite capable, facing this ancient demon king. Not only that, he possessed special magical powers specifically designed to combat demons. If he wasn't dealt with quickly, there would undoubtedly be trouble in the future. It was time to put an end to him. After a brief moment of reflection, the evil demon's eyes flickered with a terrifying coldness, unleashing even more astonishing and immense magical power. He had to unleash his full might now. Suddenly, a chilling wind blew around him, and the astonishing magical power surged like a typhoon, visible even to the naked eye. Its might was so intense that the air seemed to tremble slightly. This was truly a vast magical power that surpassed mine. A battle of might was certainly out of the question, but just as he had many methods, I also had means to counter him. For a moment, a vast demonic energy coalesced around the evil demon's hands. The black magic, visible to the naked eye, swirled like clouds, a profoundly evil, integrated essence. Looking over, I could see something. What was about to happen was dire. Instantly, the demonic man extended both of his arms in midair, assuming a fighting stance. He aimed one claw at me, slashing downwards as if to rend the sky. The impact and magical energy emanating from the claws instantly transformed into three massive black shockwaves, more turbulent than the ocean waters, like a powerful slash. Even possessing a sharper aura. These three demonic slashes, seemingly capable of ripping through space and dimensions, struck at me with incredible speed. I attempted to resist them with my defenses, but as they collided with my barrier, I felt a truly astonishing force. It was difficult to withstand them, and the better option was to dodge. I immediately passed through the gaps in his demonic slashes, closing in on him. Then, a second and third wave followed, a continuous and swift attack. I dodged from left to right, moving through the air, but it was difficult to avoid the continuous and widespread impact. Behind me, loud noises erupted. The buildings behind me were like tofu being cut open by the demonic slashes. Wherever the demonic slashes passed, the buildings collapsed and destroyed. The people around were all terrified. Not far away, in the sky, the man, shrouded in black energy, unleashed a dense black slash like a spider web, continuously destroying the buildings around the town. By now, everyone had moved away from that side, thanks to Lan Yu's warnings and help. "Stay as far away as possible and don't look," Lan Yu said to the group led by the man in sunglasses. Everyone nodded, led by the man in sunglasses in the front, agreeing with Lan Yu. Continuing here was indeed extremely dangerous, and they were no match for the enemy. Even the mechas had been instantly destroyed. The man in sunglasses nodded and said, "Got it. Let's get away from here quickly. We don't know what will happen to the town. We can't care about anything at this point. Let's go," the man in sunglasses shouted, and the group behind him understood and began to retreat further away. The scene before them resembled the apocalypse, the appearance of a great demon. Everyone fled in panic. "What will happen to the town? Stop talking. As long as there's life, there's hope," they said as they ran. Lan Yu, standing ahead of the others, watched Xingze and the Demon King battle in the sky not far away. Suddenly, one of the massive black slashes swung towards us. Lan Yu saw the situation was dire. The sheer power and range of the slash would undoubtedly impact the dozens of innocent people fleeing there, a disastrous outcome. Predicting the situation, Lan Yu gritted her teeth, grasped the white sword in her hand, and instantly, using her newly elevated cultivation level, transformed it into a white barrier similar to the one she had just made, blocking the demonic slash. The slash's mighty force ripped through the air, even the buildings along the road were affected, vibrating and cracking. Using her sword as support, Lan Yu transformed the white barrier into a tenacious defense against the slash, preventing it from breaking through this defensive line. As the two sides met, Lan Yu retreated, bit by bit. I could see her trying to block the blow, but it was indeed a blow I could not withstand. Although it was only a single strike, its power was astonishing, practically an attack capable of leveling a mountain. I immediately realized that if this continued, not only Lan Yu's people, but even more people and towns would suffer fatal damage. Instantly, I wanted to prevent this catastrophe, so I immediately used all my strength. I dodged the demonic slashes aimed at me, but the attacks were as vast as a spider web, unavoidable. Instantly, I used my divine power to peer it aside and charged forward with the sword. Instantly, the evil demon vanished from my sight with a magical transformation and came to my back. He opened his arms and crossed them, forming a web-like demonic slash, advancing towards me. At this moment, I did not retreat. I concentrated all my strength into a single point and rushed towards the remaining gap. A burst of white mantra power split the core of the net-like demonic slash, causing its slashes to dissipate instantly. The demonic man was startled by this. I closed in on him and struck with my sword. The blow was swift and powerful, yet possessed a different realm. It was impossible for him to dodge. A flash of white light passed, and instantly, the demonic man, shrouded in a black aura, had his right arm torn from his body and launched into the air. The arm, enhanced by my cursed energy, was completely severed. As it fell, the cursed energy gradually weakened the arm, rendering it extremely fragile. Gradually, the black mist dissipated, and the hand shifted its form, falling like a chunk of black flesh. The demonic man, in agony, clutched the severed arm with one hand. However, a white glow still lingered above the wound, and the pain was intense. He frowned, unable to continue his attack. Chapter 309 Monster Escapes. At this moment, in a town shrouded in a haze, I and the black-armored Demon King transformed into a man still hovered above the town. The man was struggling with the loss of one of his arms. The damage inflicted by the blow wasn't simply a physical blow. Under the influence of the divine spell, he would have difficulty recovering from the injury. Even after his arm healed, it would still be a significant blow. At this moment, I looked down at the town below. The buildings, especially those in the streets surrounding us, had suffered varying degrees of damage, some even collapsing. Fortunately, the average height of the buildings in this area was relatively low, so the damage wasn't particularly severe. Of course, compared to natural disasters and man-made disasters, it was still quite severe. In a corner of the street, I spotted my sister, Lan Yu. She looked okay. She had taken the powerful blow from the demon, and she didn't seem to be unscathed. She certainly looked a bit exhausted. She glanced at me and gave me a faint smile, assuring me that she was all right. I nodded and looked back at the monster not far away. How about it? Do you want me to deliver the final blow, or just tell me the whereabouts of the Diablo goddess? I said to the man. At that moment, a new arm slowly grew from the place of his severed arm, painstakingly regenerating with magical power. Then, he said, "You're truly extraordinary. I haven't seen someone as powerful as you in a long time, especially in this mortal realm." "Let's not talk about that anymore. Tell me about the person who caused this change," I said. Hearing this, the man smiled softly and said, "I see. You insist on getting to the bottom of this, huh? Okay, who do you think I am? Do you recognize me?" The man before me laughed, his smile still wicked. How could I know who he was? So I said, "Whoever you are, now that you've blocked my path, I have no choice but to get to the bottom of it." For a moment, the man was enveloped in a whirlwind of black demonic energy, obscuring his entire form and preventing me from seeing him. Then, as the black whirlwind faded, someone with a different appearance appeared before me. Even before I could see him, he was already laughing. The one laughing was a face that looked both familiar and unfamiliar. It had long black and white hair, a pair of black wings on its back, one red and one blue in its eyes, and was dressed in black. She looked like a woman, her face and hair resembling those of a shisha. "You are," I couldn't help but say, "from what I've seen, you're the punitive sent by a shisha?" Humph, that really makes me want to laugh, little brother," she sneered at me with a slightly twisted, disdainful smile. I didn't know what was wrong with her. What was so amusing about me? "Are you the dark goddess of destruction?" I asked, gazing at the woman. The magic emanating from her now was slightly different, but still largely the same. I couldn't quite place the situation before me. Was it the same one from before, or a new one? Well, I am that goddess you were talking about. Yes, I am Dark Ashitaya. Nice to meet you, little brother. What's your name? She asked, seemingly teasing. My name is Xingze. Since you've already told me, I'll tell you too, I replied. Oh, Xingze, you're coming to attack me, aren't you? Dark Ashitaya said. It's not necessary. As long as you get rid of this strange weather and those monsters that shouldn't be here, and don't have any bad ideas, I don't think I'll do anything to you, I said. Hearing this, Dark Ashitaya couldn't help but laugh, a hearty laugh that lacked the graceful grace of a woman. Then, she stopped laughing and said, Little brother, don't you think this human world is boring? I'm here to add some fun to it. You want to add fun to the human world, don't you? I asked. Yes, but I see how you bring fear and pain to humanity. Where's the fun in that? I replied. Fear, pain, and struggle, aren't they fun? Why be so honest? Ashitaya smiled. It seemed she had a deep understanding of those negative energies. It seemed that the knowledge and perspective that emerged from that was perhaps something she had mastered. What kind of existence is this? Obscured by demonic nature, the heart is filled with the flowers and fruits of sin, now ripe. The mind is obscured by it, but the true nature remains unchanged. Is that so? Talking to you now seems pointless. You're not your true form right now, are you? If that were the case, I wouldn't be able to deal with you, would I? I said. You're right. I'm watching you from afar, witnessing your performance. It's tempting for me to come to you in person, to see your amusing expression and your heart. Dark Ashisha said, I don't know what you find amusing, but I'm telling you, I promised Ashisha that I'd help her resolve everything that's happening. Is that so? I get it, Ashisha's little dog. That's enough. From now on, if you want to come, I'll give you a warm welcome. As the goddess of destruction spoke, a magical black storm enveloped her. In an instant, the subtle magical energy I'd sensed vanished. The black storm slowly dissipated, and the demonic man clad in black armor appeared before me. He was injured, his strength limited, and he seemed a little weak. He looked at me and said, Do you see that? That's my lord. Is that what you wish for? I see it, but that's all I see. It doesn't help much with the situation at hand, I said. Isn't it good enough to see it? Do you think you're going to push it any further? Well, meeting you here is fate enough. Let me tell you, I am the great 10,000 elephant demon of the demon clan. You want to find the location of the dark goddess of destruction, but it will be difficult. If you continue on your journey, you'll encounter many more of my level. It's best to give up now. That way, you can at least save your life. As he spoke, the dark-skinned man before me was engulfed by a black whirlwind. His astonishing magic power vanished in an instant, and along with the great 10,000 elephant demon himself, he transformed into a dark shadow that dissipated like mist. With this, the sinister and oppressive atmosphere in the town eased a little. Although the gloomy haze surrounding this place still lingered, I could confirm one thing: the giant had left. I wondered if it was injured and afraid to continue the fight, or if there was some other reason. However, the Jade Stone's direction had changed. It had indeed left. Then I began to head towards the town surface. Chapter 310, heading to the next location. At this moment, the sky above the town remained as gloomy as before. It was still late afternoon, but it seemed that the departure of the great demon that had previously lingered beneath the town had slightly improved the situation in the 15th district, which had been plagued by a more intense miasma than the other areas. At this moment, I arrived on the town streets. The commotion that had occurred moments before seemed to have happened soon, causing considerable damage to the town center, and to the others, it was considered grim news. My belief that the great demon had departed stemmed not only from my own judgment but also from the Jade Stone I had previously hidden with me. This time, the Jade Stone, used as a guide, was no longer pointing to this area, but rather further southeast. After observing this, I retracted the Jade Stone and headed towards the damaged street. Not far ahead, Lan Yu, noticing that the situation had calmed down, approached me. Lan Yu stepped up to my side and said, "Brother, that guy's escaped. Now, won't all our efforts be in vain, and only cause more trouble for the people here?" Hearing this, I shook my head slightly and said, "No, compared to this, the people around town seem fine. It's all thanks to your help, brother. I heard what you said. I was protecting those citizens while you were fighting, but this battle was caused by us," Lan Yu said. In other words, I had created a mess and I was cleaning it up myself. A moment later, as the commotion gradually subsided, those who had been hiding in the underground emergency passage further away, now seeing the situation calm down, emerged from the underground passage one after another. Led by the man in sunglasses, a number of familiar faces approached. At this time, the uncle with sunglasses walked up to Lan Yu and me and said, "Has the monster been killed?" "No, it has escaped. It had been hiding underground in this town before, and now it has probably escaped to a far place," I said. "We are very sorry for the trouble we caused you," Lan Yu said. Hearing this, the uncle with sunglasses and Liu Yu, Liu Cheng and others behind the uncle all comforted us, saying that the fault was not ours. The uncle in sunglasses said, "There is no such thing. You are here to help us. In order to restore peace here as soon as possible, this little sister can be regarded as our savior. It is inevitable that some mistakes will be made if you are willing to do things. After all, these trivial matters are common in this world." "That's right. Since the monster has been hiding underground for a long time, if you hadn't come, we would have suffered from it sooner or later. It can actually change into human appearance and sneak in here. In the long run, we will definitely be defeated," Liu Cheng said. "Indeed, I never thought before that the monster would turn into a human to sneak into this underground tavern and gather intelligence. It is really smart and difficult to deal with." Liu Yudao. After everyone's words, our group immediately left the center of the commotion. The police quickly intervened to investigate and confirm the casualties and losses. Since it was already getting late, Lan Yu and I, at the invitation of the man with sunglasses and the others, decided to spend another night here before setting off for our next destination tomorrow. We wanted to rest and recuperate, but we also wanted to stay overnight to observe the situation. Just in case. The atmosphere in town has improved since the departure of the great 10 million elephant demon. I believe things will gradually improve. After the commotion, our team also discovered several spies through searching the underground bar. Many of them were members of organized crime, and many were subsequently apprehended. That night, Lan Yu and I stayed in the building. Although the damage was severe, we were lucky enough to escape. I also managed to avoid the monster's attack and moved out of the way. At 8:30 p.m., we were sitting on the sofa in the living room, watching the latest developments on the incident. The TV also reported on what had happened that afternoon in the Green Town in District 15, where we were located. The New Century Capital TV station also gave us a brief overview. However, the TV station naturally had no idea of the specifics, and could only speculate. Only a select few knew the details, and we, including myself, were unable to grasp the true cause. "You can't find particularly useful information watching TV," Lan Yu said. "That's true, but being able to get a glimpse of the current situation in each area on TV is already quite good, isn't it? With that, there's no need to expect anything else," I said. Lan Yu nodded slightly. "Well, let's not discuss that for now. Tomorrow, If nothing unexpected happens, we'll set off for our next destination, as indicated by the jade. Has the jade's route changed? Lan Yu asked. I followed her lead and pulled out the jade from my chest. Using my telekinesis, it shone with a green light, and lines of green light formed a small map. On the map, one point marked us, and another indicated the direction we were headed to. While we couldn't determine how far the next destination was from our destination, there were many other puzzling points. The next direction of travel is the same as what I saw before, unchanged, I said. The general direction of travel is southeast, and that's how it's been so far. But there's one thing we need to understand most. Previously, because that great thousand-elephant demon was here, the Jade Stone guided us in this direction. Now that it's gone, the Jade Stone's direction has changed. What's the problem? Lan Yu asked doubtfully. Hearing this, I nodded slightly. That was indeed something I was puzzled about. The great thousand-elephant demon that had been mentioned earlier was very significant. At least among the monsters, it was the most powerful one I had ever seen. And the compass is pointing at it. At the moment, I don't quite understand why this piece of jade will look for the place where the flower wheel staff is. From the previous point of view, the flower wheel staff should not be in the hands of that big demon, but the pointer is pointing at it, which may mean that that guy has some connection with the flower wheel staff. I did hear before that the big demon called the goddess of darkness destruction my lord, so it is conceivable that they had a connection before, I said. Really? It seems that there are still many mysteries, Lan Yu said. It is indeed as Lan Yu said. Not only that, what the Wangxiang demon said also made me worried. It said that there seemed to be more than one or two places close to it. Like the great Wangxiang demon, who possesses powerful magic power, it is almost a monster that can easily destroy a town when it is powerful. If there are more, wouldn't it be quite troublesome? From what I heard from that monster before, there may be monsters close to the giant elephant demon ahead of us. In that case, our journey may not be so simple, I said. Hearing this, Lan Yu said, this can be regarded as a challenge for us. In this case, we have no choice but to accept it. There is no need to retreat, brother, don't you think? Lan Yu said. That's right, I said. Hearing this, Lan Yu seemed to show a smile. The future should indeed be quite difficult, but she did not seem unhappy or frustrated. Instead, she looked very interested. Seeing this, I couldn't help but say, you seem a little happy. Hearing this, she couldn't help but turn her head away, then turned back and said, really? There's no need to be pessimistic. The situation has turned out like this, we should regard it as a great mission bestowed upon us by God. Isn't it great? We should feel honored, really? You're right. I'm just worried that the responsibility is too heavy for us to bear, I said. It's okay. Didn't Mom say that if we join forces, we can basically solve any problem? Lan Yu said. Huh? Mom said that to comfort you, didn't she? I responded. At this point, how could I still think that my mother was more reliable than me in this matter? Hearing this, Lan Yu frowned slightly and said, you unfilial son, you always try to sabotage us. You should know that it's because of your bad character that you left our home and ran away to the countryside. I know, I was wrong. You're right. The fault is all mine. I won't say any more, I said. Seeing that I seemed to be sincere, Lan Yu nodded slightly, and the resentment in her heart subsided. The night passed relatively peacefully, and we all went to bed to prepare for the next day's journey. The next morning, the sky was still shrouded in a gloomy haze, obscuring the sunlight. Repairs were underway on the damaged parts of the town, and some people had left, considering it was such a dangerous place. In the morning, I said goodbye to Lan Yu, the man with sunglasses, and the others. I heard that the number of residents in the area had decreased. While it wasn't a good or bad thing, with the monster's departure and the capture of some members of the underworld organization, the town should be somewhat more peaceful from now on. This was supposed to be a small reward for those who had once again begun to fight. By noon, everything was back to normal, so Lan Yu and I decided to move on to our next destination. After a final farewell to the man with sunglasses and the others, we walked along the town streets to the Mecha storage area. We arrived at the spot where we had parked the blue Mecha, logged in, and prepared to begin our journey. We both entered the Azure Heart machine. After starting it up, we could feel a familiar air, which was even fresher than the air outside. Immediately, the machine spread its wings and took off, slowly stretching towards the sky. Like a blue light, it passed through this hazy area and headed towards the next target location. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311: The Spreading Demonic Barrier. The blue mech flew through the dim sky. Our next destination, according to the jade I'd obtained, lay far to the southeast. The jade's guidance range was approximately 20 kilometers. Therefore, our route wasn't precisely determined, so we could only rely on the jade to guide us step by step, eventually finding our destination. Inside the mech, Lan Yu and I continued to follow a predetermined route. After bidding farewell to the people of the Green Town in Area 15, we had already covered nearly 100 kilometers that afternoon. We advanced cautiously, defeating any demons we encountered along the way. This took quite a bit of time. To find clues that might offer a glimmer of hope, we chose not to advance at top speed. For the time being, we preferred to follow the jade's guidance step by step. We continued our journey, starting at 1 in the afternoon, and now, nearing dusk, we had arrived at the border of Area 21, near the New Century capital. The area around us is similar to other places. There are frequent disturbances caused by demonic beasts and the like. They suddenly appear from the gray haze that obscures the sky, and sometimes sneak in from outside the New Century city. They appear in an endless stream, and their source is unknown. To this day, no one has yet discovered the location of these demonic lairs. A meteorite once landed somewhere in the Agar jungle, and thanks to that meteorite, demonic beasts were born. Using their magical power, they can transform everything formed by plants, rocks, trees, earth, water, wind, and fire into these pitch-black monsters. The leader who controlled the demonic beasts at the time was defeated by me, but there was a higher being above them, someone I now know. She recently transferred to Holy Water Spirit Academy. The mysterious being named Philadelphia is a rather mysterious one. Although I know she belongs to the demon clan, she doesn't seem to be intent on causing destruction, nor does she seem concerned with the current situation. The root cause of the current incident lies not with her, but with a dark goddess of destruction, who was split apart by a single thought, as Ashisha had recently told me. The current whereabouts of that target remain a mystery. Ashisha is also concerned about her power. Perhaps she truly is exceptionally powerful. After all, she's the master of the great 10,000 elephant demon. Unlike the demonic beasts bred by Philadelphia, there are other demonic soldiers besides the demonic beasts. Judging from the current situation, they are likely demon children and demonic soldiers, likely subordinates of the great demon. Some possess human intelligence and will blend into the crowd to cause disturbances. Judging from the current disasters occurring around the world, the demons are undoubtedly intent on fostering panic, fear, and other negative emotions among the people, which seems to be their nourishment. Once negativity rises and positive energy declines, the world's balance will sooner or later be upset. The era of demons roaming the world will likely dawn, and humanity will soon cease to be at the pinnacle of the biosphere. The future will likely be filled with fear. Furthermore, the purpose of the dark goddess of destruction remains unknown, whether it's destruction, conquest, or something else entirely. As it was already dusk, we decided to stay here for the night in the 21st district, near the border of the New Century city and the city center. We considered it unwise to act at night, as the demon's power multiplied at night, putting us at a disadvantage. Furthermore, our next step would be to head outside the New Century city. To the southeast, a continuous mountain range surrounded us. The nearby mountains are also called Green Mountain, part of the Green Mountain Range. Overall, it's a relatively wide area. Staying in the mountains at night would be unsafe, so we decided to stay here for the night and depart tomorrow. After parking our Mechas in Area 21, we descended to the surface, Lan Yu and I stepping onto the ground one after another. The surrounding area still seemed thick with demonic energy. While this was the case everywhere, my spiritual sense indicated that the areas near the edge were more heavily infested with demonic energy, similar to Area 15. However, the buildings and environment here were better maintained, and there were more people living there. Brother, let's walk around here for a bit, see if there's anything unusual, and then find a place to stay, Lan Yu, who was walking beside me, suddenly said. Hearing this, I said, okay, the miasma is quite thick around here, so we should pay close attention. Perhaps, like the previous area, it's hiding something, and missing it would be a disaster, As we spoke, we began to walk toward the streets of this area. Next to the mech parking area was a shopping street, and there seemed to be quite a few hotels and other places nearby. To secure a place to stay, we first searched for a nearby inn, deciding where to stay and then conducting our observations. This went smoothly, as we randomly found a hotel near the mech's parking area and took up a seat. Being closer to the Mechas was preferred. After deciding, we began to wander the streets. With the Jade's help, we could quickly detect any demonic activity within a 20-kilometer radius. This would allow us to search for clues or help the citizens eliminate the infestation. After an hour of searching, we dispatched some of the demonic beasts we encountered along the way. As it was already late, with darkness approaching, we found a restaurant nearby for dinner. After a hearty meal, we returned to our temporary room at the inn to rest. Everything we had explored that day, including the area we were currently in, seemed relatively normal, so we retired to bed as usual. The night passed without incident. Although the occasional appearance of demonic beasts in the city had become something people had grown accustomed to, the urgency of the situation remained unchanged. The damage to human settlements and the resulting casualties from the demonic beasts had already reached countless numbers. While prevention efforts were improving, if we didn't address the root cause, the demonic forces would only grow in strength, creating even greater trouble. The next morning, seeing no significant anomalies, we decided to depart in our Mecha. The direction indicated by the Jade Stone had remained unchanged, meaning our next destination would be the outer reaches of the new century capital. After confirming this, we immediately set off. Chapter 312 Meeting a Monk on the Road. After a short ride in the Blue Machine, Lan Yu and I left the borders of the new century city and headed southeast. Beyond that, a vast expanse of mountains stretches out, the Green Mountains. Not long ago, the Green Mountains were a breathtakingly beautiful landscape. Now, a haze obscures the sky, obscuring sunlight. Even this once beautiful Green Mountains is now shrouded in a gray haze, resembling a gloomy netherworld. A chilling wind occasionally blows through the valleys surrounding the mountains, truly transforming them into a completely different place. We also spotted numerous black monsters along the path, suggesting the mountain has become a small home for the demons. It's a chilling thought. If there are still people living nearby, the consequences could be disastrous. At this point, we naturally can't do anything about it. As we entered this mountainous region, with Lan Yu temporarily piloting the machine, I observed the Jade Stone. The direction it indicating our next destination, was somewhere within these rings of mountains. The compass guiding us now pointed somewhere within the rings, and I wondered what lay just ahead. With a general understanding of the situation, I said to Lan Yu from the driver's seat, "Follow the Jade Stone's guidance. It's somewhere around these mountains, but I don't know the exact location." "Really? Then I'll land somewhere near the center," Lan Yu replied. I said, "Okay." Immediately, our Blue Machine began heading towards what appeared to be the center indicated by the Jade Stone. After a while, it gradually descended below a canyon, surrounded by a lush forest. While once a beautiful place, it now looked more like the underworld. The mech then landed in an open area, a clearing between trees beside the road. With a thought of a landing, I said, "Next, should we go out and search the area? Are there any clues? Or is it too late to go out?" Lan Yu replied, "We should go out. It's not easy to search inside this mech. It's so huge, after all. And the target we're looking for might be very elusive. We need to go out in person to have a better chance." "I understand. Let's open the cabin," I said. I pressed a button, and the rear hatch behind us swung open from bottom to top. I turned and walked toward the hatch. The air outside was hazy, and the air wasn't exactly good, which affected my vision. After a quick glance, I stepped out of the cabin and landed on the ground. Lan Yu followed suit. We checked our surroundings and confirmed the Jade Guide was indeed in this area. So, we had no choice but to begin our search. "Brother, where should we start?" Lan Yu glanced around and said, "I see a canyon path ahead. The Jade Stone also indicates a significant energy reaction nearby. Let's go over there and take a look." Hearing this, I gestured a short distance ahead and replied, "Okay." With that, we began heading toward the canyon path ahead. The Jade Stone led us in the direction of the flower wheel staff. It had previously indicated the location of the great 10,000 elephant demon, but now it pointed elsewhere. It was even difficult to determine if our target, even if we could find it, would be the dark goddess of destruction. I met her not long ago, and I wondered if she would be interested in meeting me again. For now, we could only take one step at a time. Although time was running out and there was nothing we could do, we could still hope that Ashitaya could come up with a solution. She had previously mentioned something urgent, and I didn't have the time to look for her right now. Lan Yu and I continued along the canyon path toward the Netherworld Road. Many of the surrounding trees had withered under the influence of the demonic energy. As we advanced, I could sense the presence of numerous demons gazing at us. However, they also sensed the mysterious aura emanating from us and didn't dare approach without permission. Furthermore, I had the Jade Stone, which protected me from demonic interference. After a short walk, neither Lan Yu nor I could sense any difference in this area. However, the Jade Stone indicated the same spot. As before, the demons were hiding beneath the ground, but we could sense them if we approached. The Great 10,000 Elephant Demon possessed profound magical powers to conceal its movements, which made our situation difficult. For a moment, Lan Yu said, "This looks like it's getting really complicated again. Brother, what should we do? Can you sense the direction indicated by the Jade Stone on the way?" I replied. "You can't feel it, right?" "I feel pretty much the same way, but I feel like I'm heading forward. We've already walked a distance, so let's just keep going. If we don't find anything, we'll see." "Really? Since that's what you said, I don't have much to say." "Keep going," Lan Yu said so, and we continued on, heading deeper into the canyon. The path became increasingly rugged, and in such conditions, the journey was naturally not easy. As we continued on, we unknowingly entered deeper into the canyon. The surrounding trees were tall, blocking out most of the sky. Here, I could sense that the demonic energy was even stronger than before. Perhaps we weren't heading in the wrong direction, but were heading towards its source. There were also numerous demons lurking around here, eagerly eyeing us. Lan Yu and I could sense them, or even see them with our own eyes. It was still morning, approaching noon. Some of these demons were hiding in the dense vegetation nearby, while others were further away, in the sky or underground. Although we were all demons, we each had our own unique characteristics, so we naturally proceeded with caution. Although I was a cultivator, this place was undoubtedly a test, and I couldn't afford to be careless. After advancing a distance, I suddenly sensed a figure approaching from a short distance ahead. After a few steps, Lan Yu, who was standing beside me, also noticed it. She glanced over and asked, "Is there someone approaching?" I nodded, "Yes, we should be careful." The person approaching didn't look like a demon, and the aura they exuded was unmistakable. We pretended to proceed normally for a short distance, and gradually, from the other side, we could see a figure on the uneven mountain path. The fog obscured our view, making it difficult to discern who the other person was. They were heading in the opposite direction, but after a short distance, we drew closer. We could now discern a man in a blue and white robe, holding a whisk and a black hat, approaching from the other side. He looked like a monk. A moment later, we crossed paths with a monk. I asked the middle-aged-looking man, "Sir, where are you from?" "Where are you going?" The Taoist, with a small black mustache, replied, "Ask me. I just came from that direction." He pointed behind him and continued, "We'll go this way too." He then pointed again behind us. One in front and one behind. It was very simple, but I didn't understand anything, so I said again, "There are many demons and the like nearby. The junior thinks this mountain road is steep. Have you encountered any risks?" "Oh, I know. This mountain range, which originally had fresh and beautiful scenery, now seems to be affected by external forces. The air has become turbid and the environment is bad. It has become the residence of demons. Many people have heard the news and left here," the monk said. "In that case, are you leaving here too?" I continued to ask, "I'm just passing by and happened to meet you." Hearing this, I said again, "There are many demons nearby. I suggest that if you don't have enough ways to deal with it, you should leave there as soon as possible. The new century capital is next to it, and there are many guards at the foot of the mountain. It should be relatively safe there." "Oh, that's really nice, but don't worry about me. I have no obstacles wherever I came from and wherever I go. I am free." At this time, Lan Yu saw that although the Taoist looked simple and honest, he was not an ordinary person, so he said, "This monk, do you know if there is any unusual place nearby?" "We are looking for an unusual place nearby, which may be related to the reason for the dark sky and the strange changes in the sky." Hearing this, the monk stroked his mustache, and then said, "You are talking about unusual places. I have encountered some unusual places on the road, but they are very mysterious and dangerous. I see that you are very young and don't want you to take risks, senior monk. I also know that the road ahead is dangerous, but we also have a mission. If we can find the root of the problem now, we will go through fire and water. Besides, we also have some cultivation, and there will be a way to save our lives, Lan Yu said again. Is that so? I understand. Since you have a mission, and I know that place, why don't you let me take you there? The monk said with a chuckle. Hearing this, I clasped my hands together, bowed slightly, and said, "Thank you very much. Thank you for showing us the way." After speaking, the monk nodded slightly, then turned around and began to walk in the direction he had come from, and followed us towards the road ahead. Chapter 313 Chaos Red and Black Demon Ape. We then followed the monk along the path through the deep canyon. The path was rugged and uneven, and the monk and the three of us advanced for quite some distance, shrouded in a hazy fog that obscured our vision. Fortunately, no demons had come to attack us. Our journey was safe, following the monk. The deeper we went into the canyon, the more we could sense a mysterious, chaotic aura of yin and yang brewing somewhere deep within. With a demonic aura pervading the mountains, it was hard to imagine what lay ahead. It must be something we had never seen before. This time, as we followed the monk, we reached a corner and suddenly felt the presence of demons approaching us. Lan Yu and I both noticed it instantly, as did the monk. He glanced around, his gaze slightly tilted toward the ground. A moment later, he noticed the ground around him was loosening, as if something was about to emerge. It was indeed a breath rising from the ground, a feeling I felt different from the aura of the monsters I'd sensed before. Immediately, multiple figures emerged from the earth, crawling out bit by bit. They looked like ape-like monsters. While apes don't live underground, they resembled them in appearance, with physiques similar to those of adults. Their skin was a mixture of red and black, appearing a chaotic, dark red. Their eyes were dark red, and a gloomy, menacing aura emanated from their figures. They emerged from the earth one after another, surrounding the three of us. These creatures are, Lan Yu asked. They're a little different from ordinary magical beasts. Could they be the minions of a great demon? I replied. Based on my previous encounters with demons, these unusual demons are likely subordinates of powerful demon kings. Indeed, they're likely the followers of a higher-ranking demon, the monk beside us said. If that's the case, then there are similar great demons nearby, similar to the ones we encountered before, I said. Lan Yu understood. If there truly were monsters nearby with immense magical power similar to those we'd encountered before, then we would have to proceed with caution. So, didn't the old Taoist tell me that you are still young? So if you want to go, now is the time. The road ahead will probably be more dangerous now. The monk waved the whisk in his hand lightly and said, Senior monk, we have made up our minds and must go to the place ahead. Since you know the risks and still risk your life to accompany us, we should really be grateful to you. But now, we have no intention of retreating. If you want to go, you go first, Senior, I responded. Hearing this, the monk turned his head towards the two of us. His eyes seemed stern but also gentle. He said, "Two young men, I have practiced Taoism for decades. The purpose of my practice is to help the weak and the poor, spread the Dharma to help people, and attain liberation. Now I am leaving. What have I practiced all my life for?" At the moment, it seemed that the Taoist priest had no intention of leaving. In this case, I didn't need to say anything more. I said, "Then be careful." As he spoke, the chaotic apes that surrounded us suddenly attacked us. Surrounding us were perhaps 8 to 12 apes, each pursuing us, their claws, sharp as blades, as weapons. Lan Yu and I instantly transformed our swords, one black, one white, into swords. We each faced the attacking apes from either side, striking them with our swords. In a flash of black and white light, the apes were steadily weakened by the powerful blows. They were knocked to the ground one after another. The monk also used his whisk as a weapon. Seemingly without exerting any force, he used his form and intention to wield it twice, sending the attacking apes flying several meters away. All the attacking apes were immediately repelled. Although the ape emanated a mysterious chaotic aura, it seemed that it was not as formidable as we had imagined. These guys don't seem too formidable, Lan Yu said. Immediately, I looked at the fallen demon apes around me and said, perhaps the real problem isn't these guys, but their superiors. Hearing this, the monk said, their superiors are certainly difficult, but so are these guys. Why do you think so? May I ask, "Senior monk, what is your Dharma name?" I replied. "I'm just a wanderer, coming and going without a trace. Why should I leave a name?" "Just call me Old Taoist," the monk replied. I nodded. He said the demon apes surrounding us weren't easy to deal with. I wondered what he meant. Could he be saying that even for this monk, they were quite formidable, even though we had easily dealt with them? A moment later, the demon apes we had knocked out started to rise from the ground one after another, their dark red, murderous eyes fixed on us. The demon apes, seemingly unscathed by my previous attack, surrounded the three of us once again. Now, they seemed enraged, their aura even more scorching. "These guys don't look that simple," Lan Yu said. With that, the demon apes formed their positions and pounced on us once again, each attacking with a different method, some with claws, some with rocks, and some with kicks. Facing this collective attack, the three of us once again exerted our strength and skills, repelling the attacking demon apes one after another. The demon apes possessed considerable strength and agility. Some, like the great silver ape, could create a small dent in the ground with a single blow. However, they were still inferior to us. In a flash, just like before, we sent them flying one after another, some even having their limbs or torsos severed to prevent regeneration. "I think we should hurry, or those pursuers will be here again." "What do you think, monk?" I said. He nodded slightly and said, "Indeed, we can't stay here any longer." With that, we followed him and continued forward along the path. Before we'd taken a few steps, the demon apes we'd knocked down moments earlier rose again and began to pursue us. Noticing the pursuers behind us, Lan Yu couldn't help but wonder, what's with those guys? They're coming again. I also took a closer look at the demon apes chasing us from behind. Some of their wounds were healing, and they were chasing us one after another. They weren't the same group we'd knocked down twice before, but they were back on their feet. "What's going on? We've already knocked those guys out twice, so why are they still?" I asked. Then, the monk, whose walking speed wasn't particularly fast, replied, "Those guys don't seem like demons that can be defeated so easily. Their regenerative abilities are probably, no, they're almost immortal." "Immortal," Lan Yu, following the monk, said softly. "Yet, that means they're indestructible." "It's pointless to waste effort," the monk confirmed. "If that's true, then doesn't our only option be to move forward as quickly as possible?" I said. "That's about right. Even if they're immortal, they probably have weaknesses. But there's no time to look for them. I'm just giving you a ride. I won't be in charge of anything else after this." As the monk spoke, he began to move forward with light, ethereal steps, floating forward like a phantom. It looked like he was walking effortlessly, but his speed was indeed increasing significantly. This was a good thing. We could follow the old Taoist priest and avoid being overtaken by the demonic apes. As we advanced, the demon apes continued to pursue us. Not only that, a group behind us, and another group ahead, seemingly prepared for an ambush, emerged from the ground one after another. They were also a chaotic red and black demon apes. They immediately formed a defensive line to block us. Seeing this, the old Taoist leaped up, soaring 3 meters above the demon apes. He was so deft with his movements that we, though surprised, immediately followed him and leaped over the demon apes' defensive line, preparing to ignore them and head straight for our destination. Seeing this, the demon apes, seeing the three of us flying over them one after another, glared at us, looking anxious. They frantically stood there, then leaped up, suddenly pursuing us at an even faster speed. One of them even approached us, trying to catch my foot, but I kicked it in the face and sent it flying. More demonic apes followed, their speed seemingly even faster and more agile than before, as if they were learning our techniques and adapting. "Monk, how far are we? Those strange monkeys seem to be getting more and more difficult," I said. Hearing this, the monk, who had leaped into the air and then gradually descended to the ground, replied, "Not far. We should be there in a little while." "Just hang in there." "Got it," I said. The three of us continued running, fleeing the demonic apes. As we advanced, demonic apes would appear from everywhere. There seemed to be quite a number of them, at least 20 or 30. A unique magical power could be sensed from each demonic ape, a chaotic aura of death rarely seen in the human world. I wondered if they were truly mortal. We followed the old Taoist priest for a while, and suddenly he stopped. A breeze blew, and his whisker and beard fluttered down. "What's wrong?" Seeing the old Taoist stop, I also stopped and asked. At this time, Lan Yu also stopped beside me and asked, "Are we there yet?" Hearing this, the monk nodded slightly. Yes, where? I asked. Then the old Taoist pointed the whisk in his hand in a direction not far away, and we also looked there. Not far away, there was a space door emitting a chaotic atmosphere. The surrounding area was filled with a dark atmosphere, which was more hazy than the surroundings and looked like a distorted space. Chapter 314 Heading into a different space. Not far ahead, a chaotic, strange aura permeated a place. A strange blend of various auras mingled, resembling a complex, twisted space. Lan Yu, the monk, and I gazed at the scene there. The monk's halt indicated we had reached our destination. After confirming this, I came to believe it too. That place was indeed the most suspicious, and something seemed hidden within that chaotic space. Is that the demonic hideout up there? Lan Yu asked, observing the scene. Demonic energy swirled there, mingling with many other auras, creating a chaotic chaos. There were certain patterns, and it was quite mysterious. I think that's where the demons hide, or perhaps even their base camp, the monk said. Base camp? I was also in that unusual spot there, and I sensed something. It looked like a portal to another realm. Could that be the case? I asked, because I sensed the presence of another special dimension from that unusual point. Well, that's correct. I can't say much about what's in there, but it's very dangerous. As for where it is, you'll find out if you want to go. I won't set foot there, the monk agreed. As he spoke, the demon apes chasing us from behind gradually approached. We were now just before the anomaly. If we waited any longer, we would undoubtedly be surrounded and attacked. Immediately, the monk waved his whisk and, as if leaping into the air, naturally rose into the air and paused. Seeing this, Lan Yu and I realized that staying high in the air was a good way to delay and avoid interference from the demon apes. Lan Yu and I then soared into the air, landing at the same altitude as the monk. Alright, what do you think? Do you want to go? The monk didn't look at us, but glanced down at the demon apes chasing us, right below us. They were constantly leaping, trying to catch us, but they couldn't reach us. Of course we should go. If we can find what we're looking for there, then that's fine, I said. Lan Yu nodded slightly in agreement. If that's the case, as the monk spoke, several demon apes suddenly leaped up from below. We were at least 20 feet high. Even with their incredible leaping ability, it was impossible for them to reach our height. However, looking down, the demon apes were indeed leaping towards us. Not just one, but several leaped from the ground, streaking through the air and soaring upwards, closing in on us. The first one to catch up, a black aura emanated from its dark red hide. The magical power emanating from that aura seemed to act as a surge of upward energy, propelling the demon apes into the sky. Seeing this, I slashed with a green light from my black sword, sending one of the demon apes that was about to approach me flying away with a key slash. In a moment, countless demon apes, countless as a human's hands could count, advanced on us. Even the demon ape I'd slashed away immediately took up position, once again stomping on the air with its feet, trampling the black demonic energy and soaring into the sky. Those red and black demon apes appear to have considerable potential. They must be all-rounders, capable of unleashing their latent abilities under certain circumstances, the monk said, observing the approaching demon apes. He flicked his whisk twice, creating a gust of wind that blew away the approaching demon apes. Lan Yu also struck with my sword or used my key to slash, repelling many of the approaching demon apes. As the monk had said, after being defeated, their abilities seemed to evolve to adapt to the situation. Compared to the demon apes I'd slashed through before, their hide had become thicker, a noticeable effect during my slashes. This meant they were becoming more resilient with each blow. In a short period of time, they had become even more formidable, a truly formidable foe. Old Taoist, in this case, we don't have time to keep thinking about whether to leave or not. We have already decided to leave immediately, right, Lan Yu? I said at this time. Hearing this, Lan Yu nodded. Yes, brother, we have already decided. What should Senior Monk do next? The monk looked at us at this time, and then said, I also said that I will not go there, so it's time to say goodbye. If you want to leave, leave as soon as possible. Before that, I will cover you. Hearing this, Lan Yu and I understood. Before leaving, I said to the monk, can you deal with the enemies here, old Taoist? Of course I have a way to escape. I just happened to meet you today and want to help you a little. Let's go. After speaking, Lan Yu and I nodded in greeting, and then we both went to the chaotic gate. The gate was polygonal and rugged in shape, like a crack, with many auras entangled and confused outside. I'm afraid that abnormality wouldn't be visible to the average person. Since we all possess some level of cultivation, we can clearly see it. It seems to me that the crack is somehow connected to the dark goddess of destruction. If so, we must go. Immediately, with me at the head, we both fled into the chaotic spatial portal. Seeing this, the old Taoist nodded slightly and vanished, leaving the demonic apes helpless and bewildered instantly. We passed through the twisted spatial portal and arrived in a place filled with a strange scent. We fell from a great height, and I supported Lan Yu as we slowly descended onto a desolate landscape on a cyan red cloud. The demonic aura was still thick, but at the same time, there were many different auras from our previous location. Looking out, the sky seemed dark. I wondered where I was. I immediately pulled out the jade stone to check if the compass had shifted. Using my telekinesis, I discovered that the outline of the small map displayed on the jade stone had shifted dramatically. It felt as if I had arrived somewhere else on Earth, and the map on the jade stone had also undergone a 180-degree shift. What on earth has changed? Lan Yu asked, gazing at the map on the jade stone. I was also somewhat bewildered. The compass itself had shifted, and coupled with this unfamiliar environment, I had no idea where to go. Chapter 315, Above the Dark Wilderness. The sky here was dark, though shrouded in mist. It looked like dusk. Considering our previous visit to the Green Mountains, it was still midday, but the sun was nowhere to be seen here, indicating that it must have already set. The surroundings looked like a vast wilderness. Lan Yu and I had arrived here after passing through the Chaos Gate. I looked at the jade stone in my hand. A circle of light outlined a pattern on it. It was originally intended to guide us toward the location of the flower wheel staff. A compass on the minimap indicated our next direction. However, the map's structure had undergone a significant shift, transforming into a completely new, distinct map, a pattern formed by streaks of green light. The map now had countless dots. One distinctive green dot probably represented us, while the others looked different. Nearly 10 red dots were scattered across the map. Surrounding the red dots were even more black dots, scattered across the map. These black dots were scattered across the map. If we were to speculate, the black dots were likely Warcraft, while the red ones left us in a state of confusion. Furthermore, and most crucially, the reason we were lost was that the compass that had once been on the map was gone. For a moment, Lan Yu and I gazed at the illuminated pattern on the jade stone. Lan Yu then said, the compass pointed to this area before, but now that we've passed through the Chaos Gate, the map itself has shifted, and the compass has simply vanished. Yes, that leaves us with no idea where to go, I said. For a moment, Lan Yu and I were both at a loss for words. This was a desolate place, and with nightfall, things were becoming increasingly difficult. First, we need to understand the situation. The map on the jade has changed. This may indicate that we've arrived in a different area from where we've been before, which is why the map has changed. As for the compass, if there's something wrong with the jade, then there's something we don't understand, Lan Yu said. That's right. Right now, the main difference between this map and the previous one lies in these different color dots. These may indicate something, especially the red ones, I said, looking at the cyan pattern on the jade. A careful count of the red dots on the map reveals no more than 10, while the black ones are countless. This suggests that the red dots are quite special and may be places we need to visit. Well, in that case, we should first find a nearby spot, preferably somewhere near a town, since it's almost nightfall, Lan Yu said. I nodded in agreement. Before arriving, I'd sensed the existence of a special dimension within the chaotic gate. We'd resolved to pass through it and arrive here, within this special dimension. Judging from the current situation, it's possible this is somewhere in another world, perhaps distinct from our own. This red dot is strange. The one closest to us seems to be southeast. Let's go over there and take a look, I said, pointing southeast. Let's do that, Lan Yu agreed. We then began heading towards the nearest red dot. Lan Yu and I continued southeastward. For a while, we saw mostly wilderness, never quite reaching the end. Along the way, we confirmed that the black dots indicated by the light map on the jade were indeed demonic. Along our route, we encountered numerous black spots, including groups of demonic beasts and individual flying demonic creatures. They all exuded a predominantly demonic aura, suggesting that the area we were in was indeed connected to these demons. Furthermore, despite our long journey, the light dots on our minimap didn't move very far, further confirming the map's immense size. While the light map displayed on the jade was only about the size of a palm, its actual size was incredibly vast. Judging by the terrain, despite my limited knowledge of geography, I've never seen it before. Combined with my previous speculation, the possibility of this being a different world is quite high. On the way, Lan Yu said, "We've walked quite a distance, but we're still not getting any closer. How big is this terrain? I'm not sure. We didn't come in with a mecha when we came here, so that was a miscalculation," I replied. "In that case, can you go back and get it?" Lan Yu asked. "Go back and get it?" She said that, and I thought about it. With my divine power, I could go back, but I'm not sure I'll be able to come back. That would be disastrous. "Is it not possible?" Lan Yu said again. "No, if we just go back, it should be fine, but if we do, we might not be able to come back. For now, for the sake of caution, let's not run around," I said. "So, what can we do now? Can we make that jade stone reveal a more specific location?" Lan Yu asked again. Making the jade stone reveal a more specific location made me think. The image displayed by the jade stone was also generated by my thoughts. If I changed the method, would the pattern displayed on the jade stone change? Until now, I'd been infusing the stone with subtle energy, using the jade stone under the pretext of wanting to determine the target's location. Following Lan Yu's words, I pulled out the jade stone again. This time, my thoughts shifted. Since the pointer had vanished and I couldn't see it even if I tried, I needed to at least confirm the surrounding red dots, their exact locations, and their distances from us. With this thought in mind, I held the jade stone in my hand and began visualizing its presence. The stone then emitted a faint green light, and a new pattern emerged, one after another. Our location and the distance to the nearest red dot were displayed one after another. Furthermore, by zooming in and out, I could see that the nearest red dot was located on a mountain peak in the wilderness. The jade stone seemed to possess a function similar to that of satellite radar. Even if it was due to my thoughts, it could now adapt and display the light and shadows of multiple maps, presenting them before our eyes in a visible manner. "These images could they be the target location?" Lan Yu asked. Hearing this, I said, "That's probably the case. I've combined my magical powers with the properties of jade to reveal several nearby locations, and I can even see a glimpse of their exteriors." "Really? That makes things a lot easier. But now that we've figured out the truth, we've confirmed that the red dot to the southeast is still quite a distance from where we are," Lan Yu said. "That's true. But now that we know the location, it should be a snap for us to get there," I responded. Lan Yu understood and said, "I see. Then let's get there right away. Don't waste time running." Hearing this, I nodded. "Okay, then let's get ready." The location of that red dot could be something very important. Lan Yu and I exchanged glances, both understanding. After understanding each other, I took Lan Yu's hand and immediately used my magical powers to head towards the target point, the red dot to the southeast. Chapter 316 Undead Demon. In an instant, a flash of light and shadow appeared before our eyes, and we arrived at a desolate mountain peak. This was the red dot to the southeast that we had intended to visit since arriving here. It was a certain spot on the peak. Lan Yu and I glanced around, and I took out the jade stone to confirm our position. We were indeed very close to the red dot. We hadn't strayed far, but right in the center. I could sense an unusual aura in the vicinity, and it seemed I had sensed it before. It was the chaos red and black demonic ape that Lan Yu and I had encountered on our way to the Green Mountains after our encounter with the monk. It had a similar mysterious aura to that strange ape. "Lan Yu, do you sense a similar aura to that strange monkey we encountered earlier?" I said. Lan Yu replied, "Yes, I do. It's a familiar aura. Could this red dot be the habitat of these strange monkeys? I don't know. Be careful. There might be more than just those strange monkeys here," I said. Immediately, Lan Yu and I slowly made our way up a mountain path. This was a flat area atop the peak, surrounded by a mass of broken rocks. We advanced one after another. From the side of the cliff, we could see a vast, lofty landscape, almost like reaching the summit. Unfortunately, the peak was shrouded in mist, making it rather dim. In the distance, there were many smaller hills, but these lacked spiritual energy, instead shrouded in demonic energy. This must be related to the demonic creatures that inhabited this area. Lan Yu and I peered at the surroundings, confirming that the aura was indeed lurking nearby, but we couldn't see anything. Suddenly, The ground beneath us began to tremble slightly. In several places, the ground was loosening, and something was emerging. I remembered that the red-black demon ape had also emerged from the earth before. Could it be the same now? Those guys are hiding beneath the ground, I said. A moment later, a large number of red-black demon apes appeared around us. From this high vantage point, we could see the moon hanging in the sky, a large, crimson moon. There are so many of them. Are these guys the red dots? Lan Yu asked. Are these those indestructible monkeys from before? I said. Suddenly, about 20 to 30 red-black demon apes surrounded us. Beyond us, there was another circle of red-black demon apes surrounding us. It was as if they had come prepared, or perhaps we had walked into a trap. The red dots might be the location of those special monsters. The same was true of these strange monkeys. We had come prepared, and now that we were confronted, we couldn't just run away. I glanced at the surrounding monkeys and said, Lan Yu, I don't know what connection those strange monkeys have with the flower wheel staff, but since these guys are the red dots, we can't just leave. Let's deal with them. Lan Yu nodded, understood. As I spoke, the red and black demon apes, which had been ambushed around us, pursued us. These chaos demon apes were agile and powerful, and their combined attack posed a considerable threat. Lan Yu and I simultaneously manifested black and white swords, each holding one in our hands. Facing the attacking demon apes, we each faced one enemy at a time, fighting back to back. In an instant, numerous demon apes attacked in groups of 3 or 2, and we slashed and sent them flying. Though the demon apes were strong and agile, the power of their slashing attacks surpassed theirs. While those creatures possessed a mystical aura, their magic power was only mediocre, rendering them powerless. For a moment, the demon apes closed in, exhausting us in a relentless battle, each using their limbs or the surrounding stones as weapons. The slashing and unleashing of their might sent the demon apes flying through the air. Some were sent flying, and moments later, like fallen leaves returning to their roots, they fell to the ground one after another. Using the power of my divine spell, I severed many demon apes, leaving them with mutilated limbs or even bisected. However, those sent flying, many seriously injured, recovered incredibly quickly under the influence of the chaotic aura. Those affected by my divine spell recovered more slowly, some struggling to get up. It seemed the spell was still effective. However, the demon apes are numerous. Even if we gain the upper hand temporarily, if this continues into a protracted battle, we'll undoubtedly be overwhelmed. Brother, what do the red dots represent? Are they just these demon apes? Lan Yu asked. I don't know. The red dots are the only distinctive features on the jade. There are only these demon apes here. Does this mean we are going to eliminate them? I asked. The demon apes hadn't recovered yet, and we couldn't help but discuss. Suddenly, the rock beside us began to shake, the tremors growing louder and louder, as if the entire mountain were trembling. Suddenly, from the tall rock on the other side of us, a shower of gravel and sand began to fall, and the high rock gradually cracked. A massive surge of magical energy instantly erupted. The outer layer of the high rock, shattered by its immense force like a volcanic eruption, shattered into countless fragments that scattered all around. These fragments scattered in all directions, each one like a bullet, their impact immense. Seeing this, I immediately created a white protective barrier, which rippled out from Lan Yu and me to mitigate the impact. The massive cascade of falling debris affected not only us but also the surrounding black and red demon apes. There were so many of them struck by the scattered debris, some with bloody holes in their heads, falling to the ground. Others, struck in the body, were knocked to the ground by the impact. What is that? Lan Yu gazed at the scene within the nearby high rock formation after the explosion. Amidst the high rocks, a massive figure, clad entirely in black and red, stood approximately 10 meters tall and immense, resembling a Tyrannosaurus Rex from ancient times. Its dark red hide was streaked with chaotic red and black stripes, and its dark red eyes radiated from a dinosaur-like maw, exhaling hot air. A pair of thick red and black wings sprouted from its back. Welcome, my friends. I can't believe you've arrived so unexpectedly where I am. Are you seeking death? The behemoth declared in a powerful voice. Seeing this, and gazing at the astonishing magical power emanating from the behemoth, it was clear that it was the leader of the surrounding black and red demonic apes. The true identity of the red dot must be the giant being before us. Who are you? What's your connection to the goddess of destruction? I asked, gazing at the massive creature. The creature, slightly hunched like an ape, had a pair of curved horns on its head. Its arms were relatively long, and its dark red hide looked incredibly tough. A hint of death mingled with the monster's magic. Who am I? Let me tell you, I am an immortal demon, the death demon of the abyss, said the huge monster. Tell me more, what kind of relationship do you have with the goddess of destruction? I said again. Hearing this, the death demon said disdainfully, who says that? What goddess of destruction? Here, I am the boss, because I am immortal and invincible. Even if that goddess comes, what can she do? Hearing this, Lan Yu said, since you say you are immortal and invincible, why is your name called the Death Demon? Are you crazy? Nonsense, I am called the Death Demon because I am dead, so I will not die again. I am the Death Demon. By the way, I am the demon that brings death to you. Don't you know that in this area, my name is the demon that brings death to all things? The Death Demon responded after hearing this. It's ridiculous that you say you are immortal after you are dead, I said. What? Although I am dead, as you can see here, there is no difference between me and not dead. You two lunatics are entangled in subtle details, the Death Demon said mockingly. Anyway, you're the Demon King, right? I've encountered a similar creature before, and it's indeed called the Omniscient Demon, I said. Omniscient Demon. Hearing this, the Death Demon whispered, as if contemplating something. Really? You've encountered the Omniscient Demon. It's remarkable that you managed to survive. It seems fate has destined me to be your escort, the Death Demon chuckled as he spoke. Do you know the flower wheel staff? I asked again. What staff? I don't care. Let me escort you to the west first. As the Death Demon spoke, he sighed, and a chilling aura emanated from his mouth. An icy, deep blue energy gathered within the demon's mouth, reaching a critical point before exhaling. The chilling aura erupted from the demon's mouth in a mighty, cold current like a waterfall. Be careful, I said to Lan Yu, sensing the extreme cold and yin energy within the cold current. Instantly, Lan Yu and I retreated in two different directions, the icy current crashing down like a massive wave, instantly freezing the surrounding ground. Many of the black and red demon apes above ground were struck directly by the cold current, becoming ice sculptures. Some were frozen in place, unable to move. They shivered, and the fierce wind blew, sending many of the demon apes tumbling to the ground, shattered into icy fragments. You even affected your own subordinates. You are so stupid, Lan Yu said. Stop talking nonsense, your death breath cannot be disintegrated. You will suffer the same fate if you get hit by it, the Death Demon shouted. For a moment, Lan Yu and I fell back to the ground. It seemed that the demon was really difficult to deal with. The strange aura contained in its body and the moves it used were all cold and gloomy. I don't know where this monster came from and what kind of connection it has with the demon clan. Chapter 317 Response. Lan Yu and I stopped on either side of the frozen ground. The extremely cold and yin energy froze everything it touched, its ice so dense it looked like crystallization. It was a ferocious attack. Anyone struck would likely suffer the same fate as the frozen black and red apes. Lan Yu looked at the Death Demon and said, You wretch, you killed your own subordinates and are still so arrogant. You think you're invincible? So, why don't you let me slash you 100 times first? You want to slash me? You little girl, what's your skill? Why don't you try stabbing me first? The Death Demon said disdainfully. As he spoke, he straightened his body, pointing a finger at his thick, black and red skin, appearing to be confident in his sturdiness. Seeing the provocation, my sister Lan Yu leaped up from the ground, leaping towards the Death Demon. Immediately, with extraordinary skill, she reached above its massive form. At its shoulder, she gathered her white sword, channeling her true energy. The sword shone with a faint white glow, imbued with a fierce aura, and slashed downward. From above, the blade pierced the air, creating a stunning slash of sword energy. A crescent-shaped white light streaked from below, creating a deep gash on the Death Demon's right shoulder. The impact of the sword energy was resonant, creating a resounding vibration. The Death Demon, impacted by the slash, stooped slightly, bending one knee slightly. It was momentarily surprised that this girl could unleash such a powerful slash, and the energy contained within it seemed to have a noticeable effect on its own body. Immediately, the energies contained within Lan Yu's body continued to circulate. From slow to fast, from still to dynamic, she continuously unleashed a barrage of sword energy upon the behemoth beneath her. A resounding tearing sound echoed through the air. With a whoosh, 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 the key slashes, imbued with both strength and softness, struck the Death Demon's body, striking its chest, head, and left shoulder. The death demon was thrown backward by the impact, but its sturdy frame, imbued with immense and profound magical energy, prevented it from collapsing. Seeing this, Lan Yu leaped forward and thrust her sword, piercing its left shoulder as the death demon desired. Ugh! The white sword pierced deeply into the death demon's left shoulder, about halfway penetrating its black and red skin. The sword's white light possessed a unique power, causing the death demon immense pain. That white energy was also a form of cursed power, a divine spell I had taught Lan Yu. Its penetration should have a binding force, sapping the demon's power and inflicting unimaginable pain. It was a spell with exceptional power against demons. For a moment, the death demon roared softly in pain. Then, a moment later, a profoundly cold aura emanated from its hide, sending a chill through Lan Yu, who was standing on its left shoulder. The radiating chill seemed to penetrate her very bones, and Lan Yu could instantly sense the profoundly cold aura spreading through the demon's body. She tried to pull the sword from its left shoulder and flee, but as she struggled, it froze securely to the blood within the death demon's body. Though a faint white light shone from the blade's edge, it wouldn't come free. Seeing this, I knew the situation was dire and said, "Get out of there quickly. You'll be frozen." Lan Yu, understanding, let go of the white sword and leaped away from the death demon's left shoulder. The sword was instantly frozen, and Lan Yu leaped back to my side. I said, "The chill emanating from that monster is dangerous. It's dangerous to approach it, that's right. That creature has thick skin and exceptionally strong vitality," Lan Yu said, looking at the black and red demon not far away. The wound on the demon's body, inflicted by Lan Yu's sword energy, was now healing and nearly complete. Upon hearing this, the death demon replied, "It's not stubbornness. Didn't I tell you I'm immortal? You said you'd strike me down 100 times? What's wrong? Have you reached that number yet?" Hearing this, Lan Yu, slightly annoyed, said, "Striking you down 100 times is certainly no problem. I'm just giving you a break, lest you blame me for being merciless later." HMPH, what a boast. You want to strike me down? Look, I've frozen your sword. How can you strike me down, little girl? Don't be so stubborn, the death demon shrugged. At that moment, the ice sculpture that had pierced its left shoulder dissolved into shattered ice and gradually dissipated in the air. Suddenly, Lan Yu grasped her sword. A faint light shone from her right palm, and a sword materialized once again in a flash of white light. Then she said, "Look, can't I strike you down after all?" Lan Yu pointed her sword in the direction of the death demon, poised to attack. Seeing this, the demon said, "What is this? Wasn't that sword your primary weapon? What exactly is this? My sword isn't just any sword. It possesses a different spirit, one that has become one with me. If my sword is destroyed, I'll feel pain, but I can still regenerate," Lan Yu said. Upon hearing this, the death demon carefully observed the girl before him and immediately understood. This girl possessed a spirit beyond her own soul. This spirit must have been another power, inducing her unique power. The two mutually reinforced each other, becoming one, reaching a state of mastery. Judging by the skills the girl displayed, she must have mastered them to the highest level. Now, the death demon had a vague feeling that if she tried hard enough, she could defeat him several times. Therefore, he hesitated to act so arrogantly. "Alright, Lan Yu, let me try this next. You haven't fully adapted to the new state created by the advancement of your primordial spirit," I said, then stepped forward and stood in front of Lan Yu. At this moment, the death demon looked towards me again. Using its own Dao power, it observed that the young man before it seemed to possess similar strength to that young man. However, the man who appeared to be the young girl's brother seemed to possess even greater potential power than the girl named Lan Yu. He also told Lan Yu to adapt first, suggesting that the girl's martial arts skills weren't yet fully developed. "What are you talking about? I think you two should all come at me together and show us your true abilities, or I'll be bored," the death demon declared. Its greatest concern was that neither of them seemed to have yet to demonstrate their true abilities. In that case, even if it took a beating, it would be in vain. Unaware of the enemy's strength was the most frustrating aspect. Hearing this, I said, "Is that so? In that case, let me teach you a lesson." As I spoke, I tilted the sword slightly. The sword held in my hand was brimming with power. In this world, the extent of one's power depends on one's cultivation level, the techniques and mental methods one has mastered. Lan Yu and I practice the Xingze sword technique, which is deeply rooted in our own ki circulation. In terms of mental cultivation, we cultivate ki through quiet breathing, focusing on breathing exercises to strengthen our ki circulation. Through diligent practice, we transform it into spirit energy to nourish the primordial spirit, thereby strengthening our physical strength. Besides grasping the profound secrets, diligent practice is crucial. In this regard, I'm not as advanced as Lan Yu, but I rely primarily on the power of my primordial spirit. This primordial spirit possesses unique qualities. Through long-term interaction, I've already reached a state of perfect mastery. Now that this primordial spirit has ascended to the realm of the immortal, I'm rapidly approaching that same level of cultivation. Come on, the death demon said. Immediately, I harnessed the power of my mantra and my own cultivation to channel my ki into the black sword. Instantly, I leaped forward, swift as the wind, and struck the death demon's body with my sword. I intensified the ki flow, spinning it, increasing its speed and power. Suddenly, before the death demon's very eyes, the man suddenly attacked, thrusting his sword towards him. A shimmering white light enveloped him, gradually enveloping him, making the young man's form obscured. Suddenly, a powerful surge surged towards his abdomen, right in the middle of his body. Suddenly, a powerful force, like a spiral, formed a torrent, crashing through the death demon's body. The overwhelming force shook the death demon's massive frame, completely unable to withstand it, and it flew backwards in a single breath. Amidst the whistling sound of the torrent, the death demon, facing the white force, was thrown back dozens of meters, crashing into the rock behind him. His body was completely engulfed in it, with a resounding sound that shook the entire mountain. Crack! A gaping wound opened up in the middle of the death demon's body, and from the wound, dark red blood, oozing with a chilling aura, flowed. What a powerful blow! You are worthy of being the one who escaped from the hands of the great elephant demon. At this time, a stream of cold blood flowed out of the corner of the death demon's mouth, and he said, I heard that you are immortal, so I won't show mercy, I said. Immediately, the death demon moved slowly in the concave rock wall. After a moment, his body broke free from the rock wall. Because there was a big hole in the middle of his body, the demon's body was unstable. Affected by its strong power, he leaned forward again and fell to the ground. There was a heavy sound when his huge body hit the ground. Damn it! You can't defeat me just like that. Wait, I'll get up and take care of you. Until then, just play with my minions. I won't let you get bored. The death demon crumbled to the ground and spoke slowly, black blood flowing from the corners of its mouth. Immediately, a dark red light flashed in its eyes, unleashing a surge of magical power. The surrounding demon apes, as if receiving a command, no longer merely stood by and watched, but began to move. Each demon ape became more orderly, likely now under the demon's control. Furthermore, its magical power gradually caused more demon apes to crawl out of the surrounding land, replacing the ones previously frozen. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318 Changes in the Situation. Suddenly, all around Lan Yu and me, the black and red demonic apes that had emerged from the earth stood one after another, surrounding us. Not far away, a massive figure, the death demon, was gradually healing its wounds. The death demon, having received a blow imbued with magical power, was healing very slowly. Although the blow could have been fatal, it would not die. True to its words, the death demon was truly immortal. The demonic apes now formed a circle around us, their eyes dark red and filled with murderous intent, their figures emanating an aura similar to that of the death demon. What should we do? Lan Yu asked, seeing the situation before her. I think we should deal with this guy first. The red dot on the jade is still there, which probably means the death demon is still alive, I said. The red dot is undoubtedly the death demon itself. Based on my experience in defeating other monsters, the black dot disappears after the monster dies. Therefore, the red dot that hasn't disappeared is likely because the death demon is still alive, but it considers itself immortal. So, what should we do with this red dot? As I pondered this, the surrounding black and red demon apes swarmed over us. I immediately used Xingze to meet the demon apes. The power of my slash sent them flying, and Lan Yu also used slashing to repel them. After a brief fight, the demon apes were driven back one after another. Leaving us a moment to breathe, Lan Yu then said, those creatures, like the giant, will recover. What should we do? For now, we can only rely on our magical powers to delay their recovery as much as possible, I said. Undead monsters, how can we deal with them? Even the power of divine spells can't annihilate them. If this continues, the disadvantage will shift to our side. Those demon apes will become more formidable with each defeat. In this relentless battle, how can we possibly win? Looking at the demons around me, I reflected, our purpose here is to find the dark goddess of destruction. But if we can't even deal with this one before then, how can we truly defeat her? And what weaknesses does the death demon have? The monk said that even the undead have other weaknesses. What are they? That creature exudes an aura of deep coldness and chaos, making it immortal. It's called the undead demon. For a moment, I looked at the undead demon and said, hey, you should have a relationship with the dark goddess of destruction. What is it? Tell us. Hearing this, the death demon, whose wound was gradually healing, slowly climbed up, supported the ground with the one knee, and said, I know her, I really know her. Since you are all very powerful, I tell you that she did say that she would repel you, but I thought you two were just slightly special humans and didn't take you seriously. Where she is, she should be in this area, I said. That's right. I won't tell you where she is, because even if you do, you can't defeat me, idiot, the death demon sneered. Huh? It seems that you don't want to accept my toast. If you can regenerate, I don't believe that you won't have the time when your strength is exhausted. Then I'll see if you can regenerate, Lan Yu said. Yes, with the two of us working together, do you really think you can win? By the way, when we met that great 10,000 elephant demon, it wasn't us who ran away, it was it, I said again as these words were spoken. The undead demon before us couldn't help but ponder. The great myriad elephant demon had been driven off. The myriad elephant demon was indeed a formidable force, and the words of the two men before us didn't sound false. After all, he was already at a disadvantage. If he fought them to the bitter end, he might end up in a state of ruin. Lan Yu and I stared at the death demon. These words were more of a threat. After all, if we couldn't find its weakness, defeating it would likely cost us an excessive amount of ki, requiring a long period of cultivation to recover. Furthermore, we might face more than just one demon king. You fellows, dare to threaten me? Do you think I'm such a weakling? Come on, I and my young men will fight you to the bitter end today, the undead demon declared with resolve, revealing a determination to fight to the bitter end. Upon hearing this, Lan Yu and I exchanged a glance. We still couldn't pinpoint the undead demon's weakness, so a fight wouldn't guarantee victory. But what about running? Neither of us had a clear understanding of this area's origins, nor did we know where to go. Running away would be a waste of time. Since the other side was so determined to fight, why would we retreat? Lan Yu, fight it, I asked. Well, after all this talk, running away would be too embarrassing. Fight, Lan Yu replied. Really? I nodded. We should definitely follow the rules of the martial arts world here. Since the situation has escalated to this point, it would be a bit shady for us to just leave. Alright, Death Demon, prepare yourself. Not to mention my sister and me, even if I were to take you down on my own, I wouldn't have any trouble, I said. You're a good braggart, but I doubt you'd be able to defeat me even if you fought your ancestors, the Death Demon replied. It could sense the energy embodied in that man, his strength was formidable. However, even so, the Death Demon itself hadn't yet revealed its full capabilities. For a moment, there was nothing more to say. Both sides prepared for battle. Suddenly, the demon apes surrounding us pounced one after another. Lan Yu and I launched a series of impact slashes, sending the attacking demon apes flying from all directions flying back. After the first wave of demon apes was sent flying like stars in the sky, another wave attacked. We unleashed a second wave of sword energy to meet the second wave of black and red demon apes, sending them flying again. At this point, the Death Demon seemed intent on wearing us down through a series of battles, but how could we let it succeed? Instantly, I said, I'll deal with the big guy, you take care of the small fry over here. Lan Yu understood and nodded slightly. Just then, just as I was about to ascend into the sky, a dark figure suddenly appeared from the other side of the mountain. It was relatively small, and I had been concentrating on dealing with the demon before me, so I had barely noticed it. However, it suddenly unleashed a startling magical power, drawing my attention. In the sky above me, a dark shadow streaked like a falling star, appearing between Lan Yu and me and the Death Demon. Looking closer, I saw a humanoid figure, similar in build to ours, draped in black, with a pair of pointed horns on her head. It was a woman, and at first glance, I recognized her. Chapter 319 The sudden arrival of the helper. The newcomer, now suspended between Lan Yu and me and the massive, crimson demon, had a humanoid build, a pair of black wings on their backs, and a predominantly black complexion. Their long, dark hair was tinged with a demonic aura. The familiarity of her was due to the aura she exuded. It was Philadelphia, a transfer student who had recently infiltrated the Holy Water Spirit Academy using her sorcery. She had already appeared there before this incident. Later, I spoke with her and learned about the incident. "Wait, you two, stop fighting," Philly said. "You're Philly, is that right?" I looked up at the figure hovering above, the black wings gradually retracting. "Yes, I am," the demon said, its voice even colder and deeper than in our previous conversation near the academy, more like a demon king. "What do you mean by telling us to hold off?" I asked. "Yes, you're also part of that death demons group, aren't you?" Lan Yu said. The humanoid woman naturally exuded a demonic aura, arousing Lan Yu's suspicion. Philly was about to respond when a resounding voice interrupted. "You're similar to us. What are you doing here? I've seen you before, and I heard you're a cranky fellow. Why are you here?" The death demon spoke as he gazed at the demon king before him. Seeing Philly, suspended in midair, remain silent, the death demon continued, "Are you planning to meddle in my affairs, meddling in your affairs? Don't be so self-righteous. What I want to do is what I want to do, and it's none of your business." Philly suddenly glanced at the black and red demon and responded bluntly, "Huh? How dare you act so arrogantly in my territory, shadow demon? Are you tired of living?" Upon hearing this, the death demon turned his attention to Philly. "Don't call me that way. I'm not a shadow demon, and I have nothing to do with you guys. If you continue to be rude, I will definitely deal with you first." Philly looked at the death demon and said sternly, "Okay, you want to deal with me, come and try. Do you think I'm afraid of you?" The death demon retorted, "There is the breath of the underworld in your body, which is extremely cold and gloomy. Do you think I don't know how to deal with you, death demon?" As Philly spoke, a breath of scorching flames rose in his hands, causing the air around them to begin to rise. "What? Why don't you come and try? I think you are relying on those two humans to be so arrogant, you despicable guy." Hearing this, the flame in Philly's hand gradually went out, and then he said, "Whatever you say, I don't want to take action for the time being because of those two people, but I still advise you to be careful, so as not to fall into my hands." After speaking, Philly looked at me and said, "You are not familiar with this area. I will take you to a place where there are people, really." "But what about the guy in front of me?" I responded and gestured to the death demon. At this time, the death demon was very displeased and said, "You are too arrogant. How dare you ignore me? I will teach you a lesson." For a moment, an extremely cold aura condensed from the death demon's mouth, a chill gradually spreading outward. Immediately, he expelled the extremely cold and yin energy cultivated within his body, forming an icy stream that struck him. Immediately, Philly grabbed me and Lan Yu in one hand each, spread his wings, and flew towards the other side of the mountain. Like a dark shadow, he easily dodged the attack. In the dim midair, Shadow Demon King Philly, my sister Lan Yu, and I soared through the air, now quite far away from the mountain where the death demon had previously resided. While flying in the air, I said, "Philly, you can come and help us. Anyway, we are very grateful to you." "Wait, this is a bit wrong, brother. Our original plan was to compete with the death demon. How did it turn out like this?" "Isn't it all that guy's fault?" Lan Yu instructed Philly, and continued, "You are also a demon king, so what is your purpose?" Hearing this, Philly continued flying and was silent for a moment, and said, "What is the purpose? What do you think the demon king is, little sister?" "I do everything I want to do. What do you want to do now?" Lan Yu said, "I just said that I want to take Xingze to a place where there are people." "You are just by the way because you are his sister," Philly responded in a colder tone. "Why did you stop us just now? It seems that you saved us and left from there. We have no clues again. Now we don't have so much time. You shouldn't come to get in the way," Lan Yu said again. Hearing this, I also interrupted, "Yes, Philly, why did you take us away? This is what I want to ask, really? Since you said so, I'll tell you. Don't you want to find clues? Then isn't it enough to have me as a clue? You still think that you will find any clues by fighting with the undead demon to the death? You don't even know its weaknesses," Philly responded at this time. After hearing her words, I thought about it carefully. The implication was that Philadelphia could lend us a hand, and as she said, fighting with a death demon like this might not be beneficial to us. Are you familiar with this place? Is it morning or evening now? I asked. As you can see, it's night now. This should be considered a chaotic alien world, connected to many places. After the Dark Goddess came not long ago, the situation here should have become more complicated. For example, there is a gate leading to here somewhere in the human world, Philly said. Really? We came in from there. Are you the same? Yes, I have been to this place before and stayed there for a long time. I am quite familiar with the situation here. Hearing this, I asked again, you said that there are people living here. This is a space in the alien world, right? This is also where humans live. Humans, demons, ghosts, practitioners, all kinds of guys are more conspicuous here, but this is mainly the place of demons. It should be certain since a while ago, since the arrival of the Dark Goddess of Destruction. I see, you said you would take us to where humans are. Where are they? Are we almost there? Lan Yu asked at this time. It's not far. There are still quite a few human streets, but not all of them are inhabited by humans, Philly replied. After that, the three of us continued to fly in the dark sky for a while. After that, we gradually saw the outline of a town not far below. Then, we immediately landed towards the town. Chapter 320 in the inn. Philly, I, and the other two landed in front of a town. The buildings surrounding the streets looked ancient, likely centuries older than our own civilization. But that didn't matter. I did see people. As Philly had said, this was a place where humans lived. The Demon King Philly, who had soared through the air with black wings a short while ago, had transformed into a young woman dressed in black, similar to the one I'd seen at the Holy Water Spirit Academy. This was probably to avoid being conspicuous in the town. After all, as a Demon King, it was only natural for her to attract attention. The three of us then headed toward the town streets. People dressed primarily in cloth robes filled the streets. Compared to the wilderness and the mountain we'd been in, this town wasn't as choked by the miasma, so the air was still a bit cleaner. On the way, Lan Yu suddenly asked Philly, where are we going next? It's already dark. Of course, we need to find a temporary base first. Don't you understand something so simple? Philly scoffed. Lan Yu, a little displeased, said, I understand. Don't try to do anything strange, or else. Lan Yu seemed quite wary of the girl. She was a witch, after all, and I could understand why. We walked along the streets for a while before Philly led the way to an inn. After the three of us confirmed the location, we entered the large inn. The wooden decor gave it an antique feel, and the scent of sandalwood filled the air. Inside, many small tables appeared to be a dining area, and upstairs seemed to be a place for overnight stays. The three of us approached the counter and spoke with a middle-aged innkeeper, a man with a blue hat, a mustache, and a cloth robe. Is there a room big enough for three of us? Philly asked. Yes, is there anything else we need? The shopkeeper replied. We've been walking for a while and are hungry. Let's prepare some food, no problem. Just tell the waiter over there what you want. We have fine wine, beef, chicken, duck, and fish, the shopkeeper said, motioning to the waiters taking orders. Philly nodded, and we immediately headed for the empty table. We ordered a few small dishes at the table, treating it as dinner. Although not long ago, this would have been considered lunch, it was already evening and no longer a concern. There were only a few guests in the inn, and business was average. While we were eating, I said, by the way, what plans does Philly have next? Hearing this, Philly, with delicate features and long, shiny black hair, responded, I don't have any plans, so I came with you. Didn't we talk about our agreement before? But I know you have a mission, so I came here in person to avoid bothering you. Wait a minute, our plan is to find the root cause of this great change. If you don't have a plan, why don't you go back? It wouldn't be good to involve you, Lan Yu said. I'm not worried. I just came here because I have nothing to do. You are good. What is your purpose? Why don't you come and hear it? Lan Yu said again. Okay, Lan Yu, don't say that. She is also a friend of mine. There is no need to be so defensive, I responded. Hearing this, Philly chuckled and said, your sister is really cute. If I have to say, my purpose, from now on, should be to help you. How can you help? Lan Yu said, here, you don't know anything about the terrain, but I know it very well. Really? We came here to find the Dark Destruction Goddess. Is she here? I drank a cup of tea and then said. As I spoke, the people around seemed to look at us. At this time, Philly gestured to remind me to speak more quietly, and whispered, "Here, the demons and the dark destruction goddess are very cautious topics, don't be too ostentatious." Hearing this, I was puzzled and asked, "Why is this? We encountered a lot of demons in the wilderness just now. Logically, there should be a lot of demon monsters around this place. How could this be?" That's because, in this alien world, there are very well-known demons. Among them, the death demon you met not long ago is one of them. In addition, there are several great demon generals. Those guys can now be said to rule many areas of this alien world. There are only a few places where people can live freely, which is only about 1/3, Philly said. Is that so? I couldn't help but say. It turned out that many places in this alien world have been occupied by demons. This town, or this country called Dongwon, still has the power to fight against the demons. Therefore, now is a relatively tense time. If we talk about that topic casually, it will naturally attract attention. It is better to say it in a place where there is no one, Phil said again. Hearing this, I said, I see, but our purpose in coming here is another. I know that you want to find the source of the change, Phil said. At this time, the three of us were eating and talking in a low voice. That's right, that guy should be here, right, I said. Who knows? I'm not sure either, Phil said. Hearing this, Lan Yu said, you are also a guy of high class. Why don't you know? Because I have nothing to do with them, just like you can't find her by relying on your sensing ability. I can't either, Phil responded. I see, I said, but I have met that guy. The dark goddess invited me to join her, but I didn't agree. Later, I didn't pay any attention to them. It's a bad situation. To be honest, I still don't want to meet them again, because it is likely to turn into a battle, Phil said. Hearing this, Lan Yu said again, then where did you meet her at that time? At that time, it was the dark goddess who took the initiative to find me, and left after I rejected her. Really? You don't know her whereabouts, I said. At this time, I thought about it and recalled what we were going to do and the jade. There were some related pictures displayed on the jade, which could not be shown to Phil at this moment, but the direction the jade guided us to was where the flower wheel staff was. So, I asked again, did you see the goddess holding a staff? Hearing this, Philly thought for a moment, then said, oh, I did see her holding a staff. It seemed to be a powerful magical tool. I wonder how she could wield it. Really, with that, we had a better understanding of the situation, especially regarding Philly, who was now with us. I didn't think she was lying, but Lan Yu was still wary of her. After dinner, with Philly's help, we paid the bill and headed to the guest room on the 3rd floor. It was a relief to have her around, otherwise, we would have been incredibly difficult to navigate the situation, even finding a place to stay. After all, this world was different from our previous one. Afterward, a waiter led the three of us into a room large enough for 4. Inside, the room was simple, with oil lamps and wooden furniture. We closed the door and, after confirming that no one was around, I retrieved the jade. It's been a while since I've confirmed the information on the jade. I held the jade and used my telekinesis to move it. Immediately, a cyan light emanated from the stone, gradually emerging into streaks of cyan light. A moment later, a small map took shape. Lan Yu and I both observed the changes in the map. Upon closer inspection, we saw that our location had indeed shifted, to a town some distance away from the previous mountain. Furthermore, upon closer inspection, the black and red dots on the map had shifted slightly. The sheer number of black dots made it difficult to discern, but several of the red dots had indeed changed, likely indicating movement. Among them, the red dot on the previous mountain was now moving in a different direction. The guy before really means the red dot. Is it, the death demon, going to seek rescue somewhere else, or is it going to report to the boss? Lan Yu said, I can't say for sure. We can't rashly chase it, I said at this time. I looked at Philly. She was next to us. I said to her, Philly, come and take a look. Maybe you can see something from it. Hearing this, Philly also came over and began to look at the light pattern that appeared on the jade. At that moment, when his eyes met, Philly felt a sense of repulsion. His upper body leaned back slightly and said, it seems that this jade has some effect on the demons. It's not easy for me to approach, really? Indeed, Ashataya said that this jade can resist demonic disturbances. I said, it's okay to this extent. I don't mean to interfere with you. I can see it, Philly then looked at the light pattern on the jade and said, "This is the tool used to find the goddess of darkness and destruction." I set out and cast another spell, and more precise images from the map appeared, one after another, like multiple small screens before us. Each screen displayed a different view. The main location displayed was the location of the red icon. Some of the images were just dark, deserted areas, while others showed moving figures. Philly was indeed familiar with the image. Suddenly, she understood and said, "Oh, these are mostly large creatures, really?" "Mainly the red dots," I said. "If I'm not mistaken, those should be the 9 demon generals, who are famous here," Philly said. 9 demon generals? Chapter 321, Stop and Talk. Seeing my confusion, Philly continued, "The demon you fought on that peak, the Black Mountain, was the Death Demon, one of the 9 great demon generals." "Oh, that guy? He's an indestructible monster," I said. "Yes, there are 8 others. They're probably all in this chaotic world." 8 images appeared before us, a series of light patterns. I saw the Death Demon flit across the screen. Several other figures also flashed across the screen. I couldn't make out their appearances clearly, after all, the small light pattern only allowed for a limited range. But since I saw them, it was likely as Philly had said, those red dots were great demon generals similar to the Death Demon. The great 10,000 Elephant Demon had said so before. If that were true, then those beings were incredibly powerful, a real challenge. I seemed to have seen several figures, and they all floated across the screen. Lan Yu said upon seeing this. Hearing this, I said, "After all, this screen is only so small, and there's nothing to see. It's not very useful to look at it, so don't worry about it. Maybe they are also very powerful and have noticed that we are observing here." Lan Yu said again, "It is indeed possible. There is no need for us to stare at them. At least I know those guys better than you are. Besides, you are not looking for the 9 demon generals, right?" Philly said at this time. "Indeed, if the whereabouts of the dark goddess of destruction are not among those red dots, then what should we do?" I asked in doubt at this time. Philly thought for a moment and said, "We can only think of a way when the time comes. The 9 demon generals are indeed closely connected with the dark goddess. Meeting them should be a way to find out the whereabouts of that guy." Hearing this, I said, "Really? At present, this jade stone still cannot show the location of the dark goddess of destruction. We can only do as you say, but we don't have that much time and energy to waste. Now, if we stay here, we don't know what's happening with the town over there. We must find a solution as soon as possible," Lan Yu said at this time. After speaking, I temporarily stopped the display of the light pattern on the jade. The light patterns disappeared one after another, and then I temporarily put the jade back into my arms. "That's right. Now that we're here, we can confirm the situation in the new century capital. If the situation worsens further, then as Ishitaya said, the consequences will be disastrous." At this time, I sat on a bench and said, "Don't worry for the time being. The situation outside is indeed deteriorating, but it's not so fast. We have to wait at least for a while before that guy's magic power can threaten the world. At present, humans are still fighting against it, and it's not time for them to fall behind." Philly responded to me, "Really? After all, with the current level of technology and the power of some people with special abilities, we should be able to deal with the warcraft and the magic soldiers. The problem is still that kind of big demon. If another one comes, it will be a disaster for the entire town and the country." I said, "Okay, don't worry. It's late. Go to bed early. You haven't adapted to it here yet," Philly said. Hearing this, I nodded. "That's true. I have been here for most of the day, and I had a hard battle with the death demon before. I shouldn't think too much. I should rest quietly for a night to recuperate. Anyway, let's do this. I heard you're my brother's friend, so I'll trust you for now." "Thank you for your kindness." Lan Yu, who had been listening to our conversation and discussing it with us, felt that this was a reasonable approach. "You're welcome. I did it of my own accord," Philly said. With that, the 3 of us set up the room. There were 2 beds, and with 3 of us, the temperature was quite chilly at night. After some discussion, I told them that Lan Yu and Philly would each have their own bed in the guest room, while I would sleep on the floor nearby. I suggested this to them because, although both women, their personalities seemed a bit incompatible, and Philly wasn't human, so there was nothing I could do. When I was arranging the sheets and making a bed on the floor, Lan Yu, who was standing beside me, saw this and said, "Brother, This is really hard work for you. This place is very cold. If you don't suggest, Lan Yu said hesitantly, and I interrupted him and replied, it's okay, there are enough quilts and sheets in the guest room, and they are quite thick, don't worry, really, Lan Yu agreed with a little hesitation. At this time, on the other side, Philadelphia walked to my side and said, Xingze, why don't you sleep on my bed? It's big enough. It's too luxurious for me to sleep alone. Let's sleep together, huh, isn't that a bit? I said after hearing this. After all, there is a difference between men and women, and my sister is also next to me. It's okay, I don't mind. I just don't want you to sleep on the floor alone, Philly said. Immediately, Lan Yu, who was nearby, overheard this and interrupted, you don't mind, but I do. Instead of having my brother sleep in your bed, why not sleep in mine? Lan Yu paused in her fuss, adjusting the quilt, and came to speak. It seemed both of them had good intentions. Hearing this, I glanced at them and said, okay, I get it. I understand your good intentions, but my bed is almost ready. I can choose either side. Anything I do would be redundant. Let's just leave it this way, after all, having to choose a bed wouldn't be right, and it would likely cause conflict. This was the more appropriate approach. Really, Lan Yu said. It didn't seem like she had any problem with that. I know. Don't worry about us arguing. It's fine. We have a great relationship. If we ever get married, your sister will be my sister, right? Philly said. Hey, what are you dreaming about? Lan Yu couldn't help but ask Philly, implying that this was unlikely. Philly sneered, unconvinced. Afterward, the three of us went to bed, spending the night in this chaotic, alien world. The air here is rather chilly, and it seems the weather is peculiar, with large temperature swings between day and night. As Lan Yu said, there's not much time and energy here, so we must find a solution quickly. Chapter 322, Rumors about the 9 Demon Generals. After a night, the sky gradually brightened. Inside the inn, in a room on the 3rd floor's west wing, Lan Yu, I, and the others woke up. From the window, we could see the gradually brightening sky. This gave us a sense that this place wasn't always dark. The air was just different from where we'd been before, but it was still a place where humans could survive. Undoubtedly, this town was populated by many people. That morning, Lan Yu, Philly, and I all woke up, got ready, and headed out for dinner. As we walked up the inn's wooden steps, I said, today, we still have to find those guys at the red dot. Let's have a quick breakfast and get ready, Lan Yu replied. Yes, brother, we must quickly uncover the connection between those guys and the source. With that, the three of us made our way to the inn on the 1st floor. I approached the counter, greeted the owner, and ordered a simple breakfast of steamed buns, soy milk, and fried dough sticks. Breakfast here consisted of these, and they were our usual fare. Then, we took our seats at the table and waited. Many people came to visit this store early in the morning. On the other side, I saw several customers who looked to have great skills, wearing Taoist robes and other attire. At that moment, several people were discussing. One person said, I heard that not long ago, the great demon general, the undead ice demon, on the nearby Black Mountain, was defeated. Is that the topic? I've heard about it too. I don't know who did it, but it's not a bad thing for us in Kanto. Ha ha ha, another young Taoist priest laughed. That's right. The demons are extremely powerful right now. It's said that it's all because of that dark goddess. Many areas in the east, west, south and north regions have been occupied, and countless humans have been killed and wounded. If this continues, if the demon forces unite, I'm afraid we humans won't be able to hold on to our places either. Another middle-aged man in simple attire said, yes, then we won't be able to stay here anymore, the young Taoist priest replied. Right now, the anti-demon army in Kanto is urgently recruiting troops to deal with the invasion of those demon generals. A young man who looked like an ordinary person came over and interjected. As the others discussed, many guests gathered around to chat. At this time, I saw that they seemed to be more familiar with the things happening around here, so I walked up to the crowd and asked, you said that if the demon forces unite, the places where humans live will be lost. Are those demon forces still scattered now? Hearing this, a middle-aged Taoist priest sitting at the table, who was wearing a Taoist robe and had a fragrance on his body, said, don't you know? This is something everyone knows. In this chaotic world, there are 9 legendary demon kings. I see, you know this, but I don't know who the specific 9 demon kings are, I said. Really? I see that you have some Taoist power, so you should be new here. Anyway, we are also human beings discussing how to deal with those demons. Let me briefly talk about the origins of the 9 demon kings. At this time, the Taoist priest took a sip of tea and said, Lan Yu, who was sitting on the other side, also came to my side when he saw this. Immediately, the Taoist saw that many people seemed to be interested in the 9 demon kings, so he continued, first of all, there is the great demon general at the peak of the Black Mountain. Everyone in the martial arts world who roams here has heard of him. He is called the immortal demon. He possesses a deadly aura of extreme yin and cold. It is said that he cultivated himself in the ice and water prison in the underworld, and now he has cultivated an immortal body. The extremely cold aura he exhales can freeze flowers, plants and trees into ice. It is extremely dangerous. Oh, Taoist, do you know how to deal with that guy? After hearing the Taoist's words, a young man who came to join in the fun asked, this? That's difficult. Even someone like me, who is already in the golden core stage, can hardly deal with that demon. I'm afraid that if we really want to deal with it, we have to let those with higher cultivation to fight with him. To break that extremely yin and cold immortal body, I'm afraid we have to have pure yang power to deal with it. I wonder who else in the world can do it. What is the name of this Taoist? The man on the side asked again. My name is Xuanqing. I'm just an unknown junior, so it's Taoist priest Xuanqing. I've heard of your great name for a long time. You've repelled a large number of demons at the border of the Kanto region and protected the safety of the people. You're not a hero to us, are you? Taoist priest is really too modest, a middle-aged man next to him said, not really, not really. I can only do this kind of small favor. Now we're discussing how to deal with a powerful enemy, the 9 demon generals. I'm afraid it's difficult for me to deal with them alone. That's why I have summoned heroes from all walks of life to discuss the matter of conquering the demons. Taoist priest Xuanqing couldn't help but smile when he saw everyone praising him. He stroked his beard and pretended to be calm. What Taoist priest Xuanqing said is right. Now people from all walks of life are rushing here. This inn will be booked soon. You might as well tell me what you think. An old man who came later said. Hearing this, I said, wait a minute, Taoist priest was just talking about the 9 demon generals. You said that heroes from all walks of life would gather here. I think it's still early and it seems that everyone hasn't arrived yet. Let's talk about the doubts that we newcomers are puzzled about. They are the 9 demon generals and the dark goddess you mentioned. What they have done, and do you know where the dark goddess is? Little brother is right. It is true that you just mentioned the 9 demon generals. You are also planning to come here to fight the demons, right? Taoist priest Xuanqing said at this time. Hearing this, I couldn't help but think about it, and exchanged a glance with Lan Yu on the side, and immediately said, oh, yes, that's right. When the people are in trouble, we should do our part, okay, promising man. I will briefly talk about the 9 demon generals and the dark goddess. Go on, I'm listening, the man on the side said respectfully. Immediately, many of the people gathered at the interstools and sat around Taoist master Xuanqing, ready to listen to him recount the story of the 9 demon generals and the dark goddess of destruction. As we've mentioned before, the death demon among the 9 demon generals is considered one of the weaker of the demon generals, Taoist master Xuanqing continued. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt. The death demon atop Black Mountain was rumored to be a feared monstrous being. Ever since its presence, no one dared to ascend the mountain. Just recently, rumors circulated that someone had reached the summit of Black Mountain and engaged in a fierce battle with the death demon, only to have it flee. Word of that incident had spread throughout Kanto since yesterday evening, with some witnessing the death demon flying away from the summit. Master, this death demon is still weak? Master, please don't listen to rumors. The death demon did leave from the Black Mountain yesterday, but who knows if it was chased away? Maybe it went to find other companions, right? A burly man next to him said. Hearing this, Taoist Xuanqing replied, you may not know. When I said that this death demon is weaker among the demon generals, I don't mean that it is really weak. If we only compare magic power and intelligence, that guy is really not as good as other demon generals. It is big and has a single trick. It is said that its brain is not very good, but its greatest characteristics are patience and immortality. If I hadn't joined forces with the generals to form an array, I would have been confident of destroying it. I see, the people on the side said one after another and nodded. It seemed that what the Taoist said made sense. Everyone hasn't arrived yet. Taoist priest, please continue. After a while, the old man in yellow clothes sitting next to the Taoist priest said this. Hearing this, Zhuangqing nodded and continued, the other 8 great demon generals are, the Ice Demon King, the Black Yaksha King, the Devouring Heaven and Earth Demon, the Sky-Splitting Demon Eye, the Hercules Ghost King, the Great 10,000 Elephant Demon, the Infernal Thousand Blade Demon, and the Shadow Demon King. Of these 8 demon kings, I only know 1 or 2. I've heard of the Ice Demon King. He's pitch black and covered in armor, and he mainly attacks with ice, similar to the Death Demon. Next is the Black Yaksha King, who is said to be a very secretive fellow. He usually hides deep in dark caves and goes out hunting at night. It's said that he's as fast as a black shadow and lightning, and few people have ever seen his true form. Then there's the Devouring Heaven and Earth Demon. This demon must be known to many people. He can swallow anything with his mouth, and wherever he passes, everything will be swallowed up. There was once a small town that was swallowed up by it without reservation. As for the other big demons, I've basically only heard about them from hearsay, Taoist Zhuangqing said one after another. The big demons that Taoist priests are talking about are all big demons circulating in this chaotic world. I also thought that these were just rumors. Could they really be true? Asked the young man on the side. That's true. I'm sure you're a young man born and raised in the Kanto region. The world out there is vast, and you still need experience, Taoist Zhuangqing responded. The young man, convinced by the Taoist's words, nodded in agreement. Zhuangqing then continued, as for the other great demon kings, the Sky-Splitting Demon Eye, the Great 10,000 Elephant Demon, and the Flame Hell Thousand Blade Demon, they're all ancient demons. Some of them have long been extant, but recently, since the advent of the Dark Goddess, they seem to have reappeared from nowhere. Alice, this incident must have been caused by that evil goddess. While this place wasn't peaceful to begin with, it wasn't this chaotic, said a burly man sitting nearby. Everyone nodded. After a moment, I looked at Taoist Zhuangqing and said, these great demons you're talking about aren't all together, are they? Exactly. These great demons are all formidable, but their personalities often conflict. If they were to unite, we'd be doomed. That's why we're gathering here today to discuss this matter, Zhuangqing replied. Hearing Taoist Zhuangqing's words, I understood the situation and nodded slightly. Then, from outside the inn, another group of people approached this Fengyun Inn. Chapter 323 Heroes from all over the world gather. At that moment, a group of people arrived at the Fengyun Inn. Zhuangqing, who was sitting at a table discussing the 9 demon generals, saw this and stood up from his chair, looking towards the entrance. There were quite a few people there, many of whom looked quite impressive, dressed like those from established sects. Taoist Master Zhuangqing raised his hand to signal a halt, saying he must greet the newcomers before continuing the discussion about the 9 demon generals. He then headed towards the entrance, and those who had blocked his path gradually made way. Zhuangqing then reached the entrance and looked in front of him. A middle-aged man in gray, wearing a 5-star emblem on his head, appeared to be around 50. Seeing the elder leading a group of people, Zhuangqing said, isn't this Mr. Song, an elder from the Xingze sect? I'm sorry for not welcoming you in person. Greetings, Taoist Zhuangqing. Today, we're here to discuss the crucial matter of defeating the demon army. It's no big deal to welcome you in person, Mr. Song. The elder, wearing a 5-star headband, clasped his fists in greeting and walked into the Fengyun Inn. Following him, a group of disciples followed. Please come in, Taoist Zhuangqing politely made way for Mr. Song and waved. Shortly after, another group of people dressed in white and blue arrived at the door. One of them, a young man holding a folding fan, clasped his fists and greeted Taoist Zhuangqing, saying, Xingze sect's headmaster Su Sheng greets Elder Zhuangqing. You're so young, yet you're already the headmaster of the Xingze sect. Headmaster Su is incredibly talented. Welcome. Following Zhuangqing's words, the Xingze sect, led by Su Sheng and followed by nearly 10 disciples, entered the inn one after another. A group of people dressed in black Taoist robes followed. One of them, a middle-aged man, clasped his fists and greeted Zhuangqing. Wudang sect greets Elder Zhuangqing of the Xianmen sect. Welcome, Zhang. I'm not worthy of the honor. The Wudang sect, led by the middle-aged man named Zhang, then led 6 people into the Fengyun Inn at Zhuangqing's invitation. Soon, more people entered the inn in 2s and 3s. After a while, when most of the people had arrived, Zhuangqing followed suit and entered the living room. The Fengyun Inn was then essentially completely booked. The heroes all took their seats in the inn, arranging tables and chairs in 2 rows. The Fengyan Inn was quite spacious, more than enough to accommodate over 100 people. Seeing this, Zhuangqing said, "It seems that almost everyone who should be here has arrived. Therefore, we will convene a major event to defeat the demon army. As everyone in the Kanto region knows, there's a black mountain near our border. Atop its summit resides one of the greatest demonic forces, the undead demon. Just yesterday, rumors circulated that an unknown hero engaged in a bitter battle with that demon, ultimately leading the undead demon to depart Black Mountain." Upon hearing this, the Xingze sect's leader, a portly man beside him, said, "Oh, that's the topic. It spread like wildfire in Kanto overnight, and we all know about it." Everyone nodded in agreement. Indeed, the incident was a major event in Kanto. "Is that so? But I'm sure you all know about it, but you don't know who did it, right?" Zhuangqing said. Upon hearing this, everyone looked at each other, whispering quietly. It seemed they all didn't quite understand the identity of the figure who had engaged in a fierce battle with the undead demon atop the Black Mountain yesterday. After hearing this, Lan Yu, Philly, and I all remained relatively calm. It seemed no one knew who had done it yesterday, especially since we hadn't seen anyone else since evening. "If anyone knows, or which sect or faction did it, please tell us so we don't have to speculate," Zhuangqing said. Everyone remained puzzled, and no one stepped forward. Lan Yu, Philly, and I exchanged glances. We were responsible, but given the current situation, we didn't know whether to speak out or not. I exchanged glances with Lan Yu and Philly, and they both seemed to be reluctant to let the news go public, shaking their heads slightly. I thought about it and realized there was really no need to speak out now. First of all, our presence at this meeting was purely coincidental. Our original purpose was to gather information about the demon generals and the goddess of darkness and destruction. While we were interested in resolving the issue, it wasn't necessary at this moment. They're here to discuss the crusade against the demon army, so it's fine for us to listen. They want to defend their homeland and eliminate the demons, while our main target is the dark goddess of destruction. It can be said that our relationship is mutually beneficial. Therefore, it's best not to talk about it at this moment to avoid any trouble. After all, we are outsiders. Master Xuanqing, it seems none of us here know. Why don't you continue to share your thoughts? The portly man beside Master Su said. "Well, since no one knows about yesterday's fierce battle with the death demon, then we should discuss how we can deal with the larger forces of the demon clan. Today, I have united all the sects and invited you all to come here for a confidential discussion on how to defeat the demon army. I haven't been too public to avoid attracting traitors from the demon clan." Hearing this, the bearded middle-aged portly man continued, "Most of the people here belong to sects and schools. Experts from multiple sects have gathered here, and the place is not very large. If a demon were to sneak in, they would be easily shaken out of their true form by the righteous energy emanating from the experts here." He smiled, and the others beside him chuckled, many of them laughing too. They must have assumed that no demon would dare to sneak into this meeting. But in fact, there was at least one. The hidden demon king, Philly, stood impassively behind the crowd, keeping a low profile. Her aura was so well concealed that even I, standing beside her, had to pay special attention to detect the difference between her and the others. She seemed to be using my and Lan Yu's auras to mask her own demonic energy, preventing it from being exposed to the crowd, which could lead to disaster. "Brother Li is right. It seems not," Xuanqing said. The fat man's name was Li Sanguang, the right-hand man of Master Su of the Xingze sect. "Haha, Taoist Xuanqing, you might as well continue," Li Sanguang said again. This person seemed a little rude. Seeing this, the younger Taoist beside Xuanqing said, "How can you be so rude? Elder Xuanqing is older than you." Hearing this, Li Sanguang laughed and said, "I am just like this. Apart from the head, there are really few people that I respect particularly. I just said what I wanted to say. You, the younger Taoist, are not as senior as me, so why are you so arrogant?" The Taoist seemed a little angry when he spoke. At this time, Xuanqing stretched out his hand to stop him and said, "This brother Li is just like this. Don't bother with him. You'll get used to it. Our juniors are still young, so please don't forgive me, don't be surprised. I've seen a lot of people like this," Li Sanguang said. Then, Xuanqing continued, "We mentioned earlier that the death demon had left Black Mountain. If it had sought another lair, that would have been fine. But I'm afraid it might have joined forces with other demon generals, which would have been disastrous. It's been months since the Dark Goddess descended upon this world, and the world has been in turmoil for a long time. I believe it's time to unite the major sects and fight against those demonic forces. We can't be oppressed like this any longer." Most of the people agreed with Elder Xuanking's words. From the perspective of those in this other world, the demonic forces had grown immensely since the Dark Goddess's arrival, and they had endured countless hardships and troubles during this period. "Right, that's right, excellent," the crowd responded in unison, most of them civilians who had just joined in the fun. "That's a good idea. I have no objection." Seeing the overwhelming approval, Xingze sect leader Su snapped his folding fan shut with a gentle snap, saying, "Oh, sect leader Su, so I naturally have no objection," Li Sanguang replied. Meanwhile, Xingdao sect's elder Suang Qing, upon hearing this, said, "The demonic forces are rampant these days, almost overwhelming our homeland." "I agree." Soon after, Wudang and the other sects also agreed to the proposal. "Since that's the case, I'll continue. The Black Mountain region to the south is largely untouched by the undead demons. To the north, in the Middle East, lies the Ice Demon King. He's also rampant, relying on the rising demonic power to run rampant, oppressing the people and killing the innocent. I believe our first priority should be to deal with the Ice Demon King," Taoist Xuanqing said. Many nodded in agreement. "We are well aware of the Ice Demon King's actions in the Middle East. He is incredibly ruthless and cunning, and even has many human subordinates," said Song Twing of the Xingdao sect. So, this secret meeting aims to defeat the 9 demon generals one by one. "I suggest starting with the Ice Demon King," Xuanqing said, "although the Xingze sect is far from the Ice Demon King's location, since you want to deal with him first, Su, will lend a hand." Su Xing chuckled, holding a folding fan. "With sect leader Su and the Xiangang fire, I believe defeating the Ice Demon King is just around the corner. I don't deserve it. Su Xing smiled and shook his head slightly. Suddenly, a voice rang out. Wait a minute, the voice was quite powerful, causing everyone to stop chatting and looking. It was Zhang Xiansheng of the Wudang sect, the Wudang representative for this event. "Master Zhang, if you have any insights, please share them." Upon hearing this, Su Sheng asked, "No, it's not that I have a problem with you, but we feel that there seems to be a special guy hiding in this meeting." Zhang Xiansheng said this without moving his eyes in front of everyone. At this time, everyone seemed confused, wondering who the special person Zhang Xiansheng was talking about was. Chapter 324 Questioning. Zhang Xiansheng's mention of a special person sparked speculation among many that a demonic presence might have infiltrated the gathering. As they spoke, the heroes observed one another, searching for the supposed special person. For a moment, no one noticed any special presence in the meeting. Only Lan Yu and I seemed hesitant, as it could very well be Philly. "Excuse me, Master Zhang, what exactly do you mean by special person? Is he a human or inhuman?" Li Sanguang asked. Zhang Xiansheng glanced at a certain spot among the crowd. After a moment's focused gaze, he said, "Do you sense a subtle aura here? I'm afraid it's someone quite skilled. As to whether it's human or inhuman, let's confirm it together." Upon hearing this, the heroes who could muster their abilities focused their attention, carefully observing the shifting auras around them, hoping to detect the special person Zhang Xiansheng was referring to. For a moment, the Fengai in him grew quieter, yet the atmosphere became even more mingled as the various sects used their spiritual senses to survey their surroundings. A moment later, the highly powerful Elder Xuanqing, Song Qing, Su Sheng, and others all sensed a distinct aura within the gathering of over 100 people. Zhang Xiansheng's gaze shifted to a corner of the crowd, and some of the surrounding people followed his gaze. It was indeed where sect leader Su stood. Seeing everyone's gaze fixed on him, Li Sanguang took 2 steps back, saying, "Why are you looking at me? Don't mess around." "It's not me." Li Sanguang and several Xingze sect disciples standing beside him retreated, leaving Su Sheng alone, fully visible, fanning himself gently with his fan, a smile on his face. "Hey, are you talking about sect leader Su, Master Zhang?" someone nearby asked. With these words, everyone seemed to turn their gazes to Su Sheng, who continued to smile and fan with a natural air. In reality, standing behind Master Su were Lan Yu, Philly, and me. "Nonsense. Master Su is the head of the Xingze sect, how could he be considered special?" a Xingze sect disciple responded. "If you say he's special, then yes. He's young, handsome, and incredibly talented, isn't he?" Li Sanguang said. Several Xingze sect disciples nodded in agreement. Everyone's gaze followed Zhang Xiansheng's gaze towards Su Sheng, but this also left everyone perplexed. Could it really be Master Su Sheng, the Xingze sect's head? Master Su, could that be you? A Xingdao sect disciple asked. Su Sheng paused fanning and said, what do you think? My cultivation is still shallow, so I can't tell, but I think Master Su is indeed special, the Xingdao sect disciple replied. Su Sheng and the other Xingze sect disciples couldn't help but smile. This further confused everyone present. At this time, an old man in yellow clothes stood beside Elder Zuanqing and said, okay, let's not keep us in suspense. Those who know might as well tell us. Sect leader Su, do you know? The old man in yellow clothes was also one of the elders of the Xianmen sect. His name was Zhuangfen. His cultivation was close to Zuanqing's. He must have understood something, so he wanted to test him. Hearing this, Su Sheng said, I know, sect leader Su, you said you knew, why did you stand in front of everyone and remain silent? Zhuangfang asked again. Hearing this, Su Sheng responded, why did you stand in front of everyone? That's wrong. I'm standing here, and you're looking at me. I have a clear conscience. Why do I need to explain? After speaking, Zhuangfang and Zuanqing smiled in succession, and then stepped forward. Zhuangfang walked towards where Su Feng was, and said, since that's the case, sect leader Su might as well tell us where that special person is. Okay, since everyone here is so confused, I might as well tell you. If I'm not mistaken, Master Zhang is looking at the person behind us, Su Sheng said, closing his folding fan and pointing behind him. For a moment, everyone's eyes turned to the direction Su Sheng had pointed his fan, taking a slight step forward. He pointed it behind us, towards Lan Yu and me, and his target seemed incredibly precise. Without even looking, the fan landed right where Philly was. At that moment, many eyes turned towards us, and I was at a loss as to what to do. If Philly were exposed here, as a demon king, she would undoubtedly be attacked by everyone present. But she was determined to do something evil. How should I explain this, or should I just flee? For a moment, I hesitated. Who is it? The young man behind, someone asked, puzzled. The girl behind, passers-by asked in confusion. No need to guess, it's the young man in the gray-blue jacket and the black-haired woman next to him. At this moment, Zhang Xiansheng of the Wudang sect stepped forward and said. As Zhang Xiansheng stepped forward, Su Sheng also made way. Under the gaze of Zhang Xiansheng of the Wudang sect, Lan Yu and I, and the others in front of us, all retreated. Seeing this, Philly realized that the man had his gaze directed in his direction, so he took a step forward and asked, are you referring to me? Zhang Xiansheng replied, yes, it's you. Excuse me, what's wrong with me? Philly asked. Who are you? You don't fit in with the atmosphere here, and you seem to be pretending. You've been exposed. Stop pretending and tell us who you are. Zhang Xiansheng looked at Philly with a piercing gaze and said clearly. As he spoke, everyone looked at Zhang Xiansheng and the woman standing before him. Philly glanced around at the other people, then at Zhang Xiansheng. What do you think I am? Tell me, you are. Zhang Xiansheng tried to see her face, but her hazy aura made it difficult to determine who the young woman was. He stared into her eyes, which were dark and possessed an unusual allure. It was as if they were emitting an electric current, and for a moment, Zhang Xiansheng was captivated. Believing her to be a beautiful young woman, he said, you are a young woman, a young woman. The crowd, puzzled by this, began to discuss. That's right. I've never met you before. How can you say I'm special? That's because you. Zhang Xiansheng covered his head, his mind a little bewildered. Several people from the same faction wearing uniforms came over and supported him, saying, Senior, what's wrong? No, I suddenly felt a little dizzy. It's okay. Was it that little girl who did it? Said the person, and then looked at File. What did I do? I'm just standing here. It was your hero Zhang who came here on his own initiative. Why are you accusing me again? Phil pretended to be innocent and said, damn it, you female thief, why don't you tell us which sect you are from and where you are from? We have never seen you before. A man in his early 30s in uniform said, yes, this meeting should not have invited a mysterious girl like you, right? Why are you here and what is your purpose? Someone else said. Hearing this, Phil looked at them and responded, yes, you didn't invite me, and I don't know you. It's just that when I was eating here this morning, a group of people suddenly came here inexplicably, and then they were going to hold some kind of meeting. I was just implicated. What she said was not false. Indeed, we met these people inexplicably since morning. Chapter 325 ready to go. After hearing this, everyone couldn't help but discuss in a low voice. At this time, Zhang Xiansheng recovered a little and said, "So that's how it is. You happened to have breakfast here and ran into this meeting?" "You're right," Philly responded. Several disciples in uniform besides Zhang Xiansheng couldn't help but persuade him, and whispered in the side, wondering if this was really the case. Zhang Xiansheng in front of him said a little impatiently because there was a lot of noise in his ears and his shoulders were shaken by the disciples, "Okay, be quiet. She is right. I made a mistake, is that so?" After these words, more people gradually turned their eyes away from the woman in black clothes and long black hair who was a little out of place, and thought that the girl just happened to come here. What's going on? It turned out to be a misunderstanding. Master Zhang really loves to make jokes. "Do you want to liven up the serious atmosphere?" Li Sanguang said with a chuckle. After Li Sanguang's words, many people also laughed. At this moment, the Wudang sect looked a little embarrassed. Seeing this, Zhang Xiansheng said, "I'm really sorry, I made a mistake. I hope the little girl will forgive me, misunderstandings are common." "It's good that you can understand it," Philly responded with a normal expression. Hearing this, Zhang Xiansheng turned around and prepared to leave. When he left, he said to the disciple next to him, "Okay, let's go." Then, Zhang Xiansheng followed the disciples back to the previous bench. "Speaking of which, sect leader Su, it seems you were also pointing at that girl. What are your thoughts?" Song Qing of the Xingdao sect spoke up. Hearing this, Su Xing smiled slightly, waved his folding fan, and said, "I was indeed pointing at that girl. You were wondering what I thought of her, weren't you?" "Exactly," Song Qing replied. Song Qing of the Xingdao sect must have noticed a peculiar aura about the woman. Zhang Xiansheng undoubtedly noticed it too, but he retreated, superficially appearing to be mistaken. However, closer up, Su Xing could definitely see something fishy going on. Zhang Xiansheng might have appeared confused, but in reality, he had fallen under the woman's spell and was therefore following her lead. Song Qing of the Xingdao sect might have also observed this. If so, then his words were meant to poke fun at him. Well, he was certainly wary of that woman. Su Sheng then said, "All right, let me explain why I singled out that girl." With that, Su Sheng turned and walked toward Philly, his eyes meeting mine and Lan Yu's. Though Su Sheng looked young, his cultivation and his eyes seemed sharp, he'd likely seen through it. For a moment, Lan Yu and I were at a loss as to what to do. We might be exposed. Su Sheng then took 2 steps forward, standing beside me, a distance from Philly's eyes. He said, "Young lady, why don't you explain what you just did?" As soon as Su Sheng finished speaking, Philly and I understood. There was a hidden meaning in his words. It seemed he'd already sensed that the person before him wasn't human. "What did I do?" "Master Su, what do you mean?" Philly's eyes met Su Sheng's, intending to cast a spell of charm, but Su Sheng was well prepared. The fire in his eyes held no revelation. Immediately, sensing a potentially dire situation, Philadelphia's gaze met with hers, radiating a powerful aura, channeling all her latent magical power through her gaze. Suddenly, Su Sheng felt a surge of overwhelming pressure, a magical power he had never experienced before, radiating into his mind and heart. This made Su Sheng blink and turn his head slightly, thinking, this person is truly ominous. She is indeed a demon, and she's secretly releasing a powerful aura to threaten him, clearly aware of it. He should be careful. However, in their eye contact, no one besides him probably noticed. Everyone else seemed calm, indicating that no one else had sensed the pressure. He hadn't expected this girl to possess such power. If he exposed her, he might be targeted. Even if a group of people came, he wouldn't be able to gain any advantage. He might even end up embarrassing himself. His cultivation level was probably not even up to hers. It would be better not to speak for now. Su Sheng then said, "The young lady exudes a delightful fragrance. I truly find it pleasing to the eye. She is unlike anyone else here. Her beauty is like a fairy, her spirit like a dragon and a tiger, and she is pure and innocent. Therefore, I couldn't help but point my folding fan at you. Please forgive me if this offends you." With that, Su Sheng clasped his fists in a gesture of respect. "That's not the matter. Master Su, you are truly a man of great talent. If you have anything to say, it's better to do it privately. There are so many people here, so it's better not to talk about it," Philly said, turning his head slightly away. At this point, many people present couldn't help but laugh again. Someone said, "Master Su, I understand. So you're also interested in the young lady. Compared to Master Zhang, I think you have a better chance of winning." With these words, Su Sheng of the Qingyang sect slowly retreated. Then, he couldn't help but shake his head. It seemed he had been tricked. Since that's the case, why don't we put an end to this farce and get back to the main topic, Xingze said. Everyone's gaze gradually shifted from Philly beside us, returning to the center. Seeing this, Lan Yu and I breathed a sigh of relief. With that, the secret meeting to subjugate the demon clan came to an end. Since so many heroes had gathered today, the Fengaian offered free meals to boost everyone's morale. Lan Yu, I, and the other two quietly departed after the meeting. Over an hour had passed. We had originally planned to use the jade to travel to a red dot in the morning, but after this meeting, there wasn't much time left in the morning. I took out the jade from my hidden spot and observed it. To the east, outside the Kanto region, there was a red dot relatively close to us. Xingze had previously mentioned that the great demon general to the east was likely the Ice Demon King. I used my telekinesis to make the red dot on the map appear in a more detailed light image. It was a suburban area, with what looked like houses nearby. Seeing this, Lan Yu said, "This is where the Ice Demon King is, right? Why don't we go there this afternoon?" That's right. Those who were discussing the attack on the demon clan also planned to prioritize the Ice Demon King. Although we don't know their true abilities, we should still go early, lest they get killed and we can't question them, I said. That makes sense. Those guys might not seem very powerful at first glance, but the powerful ones among them kept their composure, Philly said. Really? It's great that we weren't discovered just now, I said. I guess it's not that we weren't discovered, but that we weren't exposed. Someone must have been targeting us, Philly replied. That doesn't matter. At least we didn't cause any trouble, I added. Now that we were inside the house and had confirmed the relevant intelligence, it was time to take action. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.